Alright, so Nintendo's E3 2021 thingamabob. Apparently, I just found out a little bit before starting this that apparently there's like some drama surrounding this about freaking Nintendo being weird about people streaming stuff, as they oftentimes are, because Nintendo is a freaking whack as heck company with no flaws whatsoever. Let me tell you, no single issue at all or anything like that. Man, what a strange freaking company. Anyway, we'll see what's going on here. I know that a lot of people have predicted like a whole bunch of stuff, but who knows what's going to wind up happening here. It should be starting in about a minute-ish, I think. It's currently 10 a.m. my time, Mountain Time, so that means that it should be starting any moment now. And it should seem like Diego opened for nothing and therefore you can't be disappointed. There you go. Well, we'll see what happens. You know, I had a script prepared for an upcoming video essay on Nintendo's whole classic game situation, what with taking their NES and SNES games and using it as an incentive for their online disservice, and not releasing any of their other older titles unless they want to like cherry pick them to re-release at full price, like freaking 3D All-Stars or Skyward Sword HD. And I had the script for this video like prepared. I called it Nintendo's Classic Game Conundrum, and that might be a future video essay here. But I was about to start recording it, but then I was like, wait, Nintendo's Direct for like E3 starts next week. So like I'm gonna wait until that and see if during this they reveal any other full-priced emulations. So if they reveal some, that's a bit loud. So if they reveal some full-priced emulations during this, I'm not gonna be one too impressed, and you can bet it's gonna go in the script for my upcoming Classic Game Conundrum video essay. So we'll see. We'll see.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shinya Takahashi, and I'll be your guide for today's...
I had to turn up my volume there.
Hello, I'm Yoshiaki Koizumi.
Hi.
And I'll be your guide as well.
Why did it start out with rated M for mature? Is that just like the top rating that anything in this presentation gets to, I guess?
Nintendo Switch
Probably.
is being enjoyed by a wide range of players.
I was about to say, is these two giving the presentation rated M for mature?
Thank you all very much.
Imagine. Anyway, let's see what happens.
Able to offer a wide variety of games on the system.
Whoa, games!
Not just from Nintendo,
I like
but
games!
also from our many development and publishing partners.
So let me know about the audio levels if I need to turn it like up or down at any point. Which is our guide, who knows?
Personal tastes.
Today we have news on upcoming Nintendo Switch games, and
I like games.
on a selection of
Sometimes.
games releasing this year.
Okay.
We hope you enjoy it.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, to begin,
We'll
please take
see.
a look at this video.
Take a look at this video. It's a cat doing stuff and things and whatnot. This already. This is a Smash reveal trailer. What do you bet? I don't know. I just thought from like the graphics for a hot second. Oh yeah, that's a Smash reveal trailer. Is that freaking dead Ganondorf? What? Are you gonna throw him into? What the hell is this? Okay, I don't know what series this is from. I'm sorry. I think I recognize you, ish. Kazuya gets raid for the next battle. Okay, it's something I'm not super familiar with. A Street Fighter character? Isn't there already 2 Street Fighter characters in Smash? They're adding a 3rd one? Eh. Like, I know that people were like super hyped for Ryu when Smash Ultimate came out. They were super hyped for Ken as well and whatnot. But like, do they? Who killed Ganondorf is a good question. Wait, it's Tekken? Because I don't. Did he kill Captain Falcon? No. Okay, it's okay. I was about to say I don't know enough about Street Fighter or Tekken. No, no. No, not Marth. Okay, Tekken makes more sense. Tekken makes more sense. That's a thing that hasn't been, you know, done in Smash yet, and it's probably gonna make a lot of people happy. So that's pretty alrighty. I was about to say, if it was a 3rd Street Fighter thingamabob. Oh great, more comeback mechanics. Exactly what we needed in this game. Exactly what we needed in this game. More comeback mechanics. Pretty cool looking stage though. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Tekken, but I know that it's something that hasn't been done at all in Smash yet. So that's probably gonna make a lot of people happy. Most likely, we shall see. He's a weird demon dudo, isn't he? I can't believe he killed Ganondorf, and well, everyone. Yeah, that's Tekken, not Okay. Is that gonna be that Kirby meme where he falls down the cliff and he goes, ah? It's just gonna fly up again. I really want. Now I need to make that. Right after the stream, I need to make that freaking. You know the meme that I'm talking about where Kirby gets dropped down a cliff and goes, ah! It's just like a guy screaming. I need to make that now.
Details at a later date, so please sit tight.
I need to make that now. I need to be the first person that makes that. I can't be the only person that's had that idea though, right?
Take a look.
By looking at that. I can't be the first one with that idea, surely. I appreciate the 5 bits there, Anima. How are you doing today?
N-E-R-R-D.
N-E-R-R-D. Wow. Crouch spin kick. Whoa. Look at this. Oh, if I turn my camera, you can see like the stuff because it was blocking things. Spinning demon to left hook. Well, time for more command input characters. Time for more of that. How many moves is this? What is this? Good, just trying to figure out who to watch. Us! Here! Does who? Demon God Fist. How much stuff is this? What are all these moves? What are these? Literally, what are all these moves? Okay, I think that's it for the combos and stuff.
This feels like Tekken. No, it's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Weird.
I'll talk about
interesting.
More in a
but yeah,
future
that's probably gonna
presentation.
make a lot of people happy.
We still have to record it first, actually.
The
air date is shown below.
Okay, so they're gonna be properly showcasing that there. Tekken has a lot of combos. I believe it. I believe it.
Thank you, Mr. Sakurai.
But yeah, I don't know much of anything about like Tekken, Street Fighter, King of Fighters, anything like that really. I don't know much about fighting games, you could say.
Who has
Is what you could
many
absolutely
harsh
say.
battles across the Tekken series
Whoa.
will fight in this game. All right.
Yeah, not gonna
let's
affect me
continue
too much,
with
but
our
I
first
do
batch
hope that it'll
of
make a lot of
Nintendo
people
Switch
happy
headlines.
and such. It's more stressful than Street Fighter.
Your choices matter in these emotional, supernatural tales.
Do they now? Do they now? Cool art style for whatever this is. Definitely a cool looking art style and whatnot. Pokken also has a lot of combos, but mostly yeah. One of these days I'll play Pokken again. Whatever this is, I like the art style. Don't know what. Oh, I've never played Life of Strange before, but I recognize the faces. Is that right? I think I know like nothing about it, but like I think that's a thing about that. Life is Strange Remastered Collection, Life is Strange True Colors. I've never freaking watched any playthroughs of that before. I've never played it myself before. I've heard good things about it. Oh, so that freaking cool looking drawing art style isn't at all the game. I was just okay. Well. Okay. Is that like a new game? Is that like a port? Is that a
True Colors
collection?
on Nintendo
True
Switch
I don't
September
know.
10th. And
I don't
Life
know.
is Strange
Oh,
Remastered
that's a.
Collection comes to Nintendo
That's
Switch
that.
later this year.
And then the first one, the other one is the new one or something. It's really good. I've heard that it's really good.
Nintendo Switch system.
Is there now?
You are Star-Lord.
So that's coming to the Switch as well. I saw that was unveiled during Square Enix's thing. I saw a little bit of gameplay. It seemed interesting, but I don't know if it's the kind of thing that I'd hop on into. It does seem intriguing. It does definitely seem intriguing. That's interesting that it's coming to the Switch as well. What the hell is that?
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy blasts onto Nintendo Switch
I didn't see
October
the
26th.
Square Enix's presentation, but I heard that it was like 70%
everywhere.
Marvel
In this
stuff.
real-time arena-based
Apparently.
shooter, you'll squish your
There's a new
invertebrate
Worms
opponents
game.
in 32-player cross-platform
Last
combat,
Worms game I
playing
played
daily
was
challenges,
Worms
battle
Revolution,
modes,
I think
and
that's
seasonal
what it's
events
called.
to worm your way up the ranks.
And I didn't play a whole lot of it.
Plus,
What? It's like real time now instead of
exclusive
turn-based?
to the Nintendo Switch version will
I think
be
that takes
available
away
for
some of the
free for
fun,
2
but that's-
weeks after launch.
I don't know.
A new map,
I like the
Skateboard
turn-based kind of
Showdown,
thing. I only played like the
Worms
one Worms
Rumble,
game with
wriggling
Revolution or
onto
something.
Nintendo Switch
That
June
frame rate
23rd.
does not
Get a
look the best.
25% discount when you pre-order the game starting today
Concept.
on Nintendo eShop.
Create.
The fantastical realm of Orc
I don't know what this is.
awaits as you explore this fully hand-painted world. You'll customize a
Yeah,
team
no
of
idea
demigods
either,
and unleash
Anima.
devastating attacks and captivating turn-based combat.
The combat that was there for a hot second reminded me almost of, like, I've never played it before, but almost kind of reminded me of Darkest Dungeon in a way. The heck is this? 2-Point Campus. Those games are dumb, but in a fun way. I had fun playing them. I think that'd be something fun to play, like with friendos and such.
You'll build and run your very own university the way you want it.
Oh, great. I would change a lot of things about my university.
And take your educational empire to the next level.
Freaking university tycoon game.
On Nintendo Switch next year.
Weird. Odd. Rather strange, but it is what it is. 11th Series rolls into... Oh, that's a super... Wait, is that the... Was that the Super Monkey Ball thing that people were talking about or whatnot or something? Yeah. A game that or a game series that I've never played before, like ever. Okay. Wasted time on this? What is... It's a turn to the greatest event ever, EA. Is EA doing their thing right now? Or something? Yeah, we need AA's thingamabob. Well, return to Monkey. Well, yeah, that's what we gotta do. We gotta return to Monkey. Super Monkey Ball. What? I didn't get the chance to read that. I didn't want to read it anyway, so it's fine. So it's fine. I've never played any of these games before, but if anybody's ever seen a Super Monkey Ball speedrun, I think that those are like some of the most fun speedruns to watch. Some of the things that freaking speedrunners do is absolutely incredible. And
go bananas when Super Monkey
there's
Ball
that.
Banana Mania rolls onto Nintendo Switch.
And we've
October
never
5th.
liked this game. I like watching speedruns of that kind of thing.
It's a blast from parties past.
What, are they
And
releasing
you're
classic
invited.
Mario Party games?
Ready for another round of Mario Party mayhem? Of course.
Oh, is there
you
just
are.
like a new Mario
It's
Party game?
Superstar collection of Mario
Oh.
Party boards and minigames.
Oh, but why?
Live it up on 5 classic boards from the Nintendo 64 era, including
Oh.
Peach's birthday cake and Spaceland.
So it
Each board
is...
packed with zany events guaranteed to
So it
keep
is
you
a
on your
new
toes.
game, but it's
And
like
when we
made
say
with
zany,
remastered old
we
content.
mean it. Jump,
Huh.
connect blocks.
So it's not like a freaking lazy emulation like 3D All-Stars or Skyward Sword HD. Like it's a new
Button controls.
game, but with a lot of its
100
stuff
minigames
from like
from the Mario
old
Party
stuff.
series
Okay.
catalog. You'll have a blast
Oh.
in this all-star
Interesting.
Fun Fest. Here's a little
That's
party
interesting.
favor. All game
Huh.
modes work with online play.
Yeah, something Super Mario Party should have had at
If you're
launch.
partying Solo, you can randomly match with other partygoers worldwide. Playing a board game online with friends.
So Super Mario Party won't
Save
be the
your
only
progress
Mario
in the
Party
game.
game on the Switch,
Grab
and
a
it's actually
snack,
gonna...
Then resume the festivities.
Huh,
Stickers are
that's
also
interesting.
available to communicate with others.
That's
It's
actually
time to
interesting.
Party in Mario Party Superstars.
October
Launching on the
29th, huh?
Nintendo Switch system October 29th.
Huh.
Pre-orders begin today.
I'll
on
keep an eye out
Nintendo
for it.
eShop.
I'll most likely cover it on the channel. Most likely.
What did
See if
you
we can
think?
hop into it with some friendos or something.
Before we show this next trailer,
They only even
I'd like
added
to
Super
say
Mario
one thing.
Party like online with the boards
We're
earlier
working
this year,
hard
which is
on
kind
the
of
latest
sad. It was like
game in the
3 years
Metroid
after
Prime
release.
series, Metroid Prime 4,
Oh.
which we previously announced.
Mm-hmm.
But today, we'd like to introduce another new entry in the Metroid franchise.
Oh. So not
take a
Prime
look.
4, but... Oh. A new entry in the Metroid series that isn't Prime 4? Oh? Metroid 5? So not Metroid Prime 4, but Metroid 5, so it's gonna be a 2D game? So this is gonna be a 2D game is what I'm interpreting it as. I don't think that the original Metroid games ever used numbers, did they? But they're calling it Metroid 5? That's interesting. And it seems like I think it's really interesting that Nintendo's actually, you know, making an effort to like bring back Metroid. That's neat. Just slightly delayed sound effects there. What is with the, why are the sound effects so weird? Why does it seem like kind of janky? Maybe it's just the stream being like weird and stuff. Yeah, it is a 2D game. So it literally is Metroid 5, a 2D kind of thing. Huh. That's actually interesting. Metroid. Metroid Dread. Huh. That's something for Metroid fans to get hyped about. That's actually really cool. I think the sound effects are out of time. That might just be like a weird thing with the stream. I mean, it didn't seem like things were out of time before this, so could just be like some issue that they're having with this specific trailer or something. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I'm surprised that they're making a new 2D Metroid game. I mean, they did try out the stuff that they did on the 3DS, which was kind of fascinating. I haven't played a Metroid game in a very long time. I think the only Metroid game that I actually like properly played was the original Metroid Prime, where I picked up the trilogy on my Wii U before I was a content creator. I played a little bit more than half of it. I was trying to 100% it, so I was like reading off of guides a whole bunch, and I got kind of tired of like following along with guides, but I think it's the kind of game we're playing normally. I'm not sure if it's the kind of thing I could get into because, you know, I've mentioned before how I'm not a big fan of like Zelda dungeons a lot of the time. I'm just like, let's get it done with and freaking move on to like the open world that I do like. And I don't know if I could get into Metroid Prime myself or like Metroid in general because it's like the entire world is like a Zelda dungeon. But
with the trailer for the first new 2D
yeah.
Metroid game in roughly 19
yeah, and saw the
years,
counter as well there.
brand new
I saw
Metroid
the
Dread game.
whale. That's
As the
interesting.
name Dread implies,
Yeah, it honestly looks cool.
this is a Metroid game with a new feel, showcasing a variety of threats that Samus will encounter.
That actually looks pretty
Scheduled
interesting.
To be
I'm
released
gonna be
on
honest.
October 8th, so it won't be too long.
Oh,
until
so
launch.
it's still gonna be something
That
releasing
same
this.
day, we'll
Ooh, I
also be
want that,
releasing
but
amiibo
there's gonna be
figures for
scalped like
Samus
crazy.
And the Emmy, the robot seen in the video.
Hmm.
Let's move on.
That's gonna be
to
scalped
more
like
Nintendo
crazy.
Switch
There's no
headlines.
way I can pick that up. Well,
These familiar franchises are back on Nintendo Switch.
F-Zero? Pikmin? Free? Oh.
Get ready to get down in the latest Just Dance game.
We're back? You freaking never left. What do you mean you're back? As far as I know. I don't know. I don't play Just Dance. Also, the feeling that random online Super Mario Party update existed to see if they could make an online Mario Party game? Maybe. It's so strange that they added the update like 3 years after release. Like, better late than never, but like, you know, rather
Dance floor in
rather
Just Dance
strange.
2022, launching on Nintendo
At least
Switch
that other
November
one will
4th.
get it right from the get-go of online from the get-go, but we'll see. What the hell is
The
this?
arcade smash hit
Why is
Cruisin'
it
Blast
trippy as heck?
speeding onto Nintendo Switch.
I've never heard of it, I'm gonna be honest.
Blast your way through nearly
I
30
honestly have not.
open
What the
tracks.
hell?
Up to 4
Well then.
players can race together, so pick your favorite vehicle and hit the road.
Well,
Cruisin' Blast launches as a console exclusive on Nintendo Switch.
this could have been an F-Zero game, but okay. I'm pretty sure that's not a Nintendo game right there.
It's the
I'm fairly certain.
Dragon Ball Z experience.
Well, I don't think it's really applicable. I've never seen Dragon Ball
Relive the
before. Is that a
story
bad
of
thing?
Goku and other Z fighters through 4 sagas
When I was in
this
elementary
action
school,
RPG.
basically everybody that I knew had seen like
Sega,
Dragon Ball and was super
protect
into
the
it.
Earth
But
from
like
an invasion by Vegeta
I'd
and
never
Nappa.
seen it.
Frieza, take a
I'd
stand
never
against the
seen it
evil
before, so I know
Emperor.
like nothing about Dragon
Cell,
Ball. Quite
battle
frankly,
the androids
I have
and
no
fight to
idea.
the death.
Yeah, I have no idea what any of this. Whoa, you're a
An
wonky
epic
looking
showdown
dudo,
with
aren't
the
you?
most fearsome foe.
Very wonky looking there,
Along
huh?
with the main story, you can explore
Why
the
does this
vast
remind me
world
of
Dragon
Superman
Ball Z.
64?
Hey, why not help out the
Well.
locals? Or collect ingredients for delicious
But yeah, I
meals.
got more nostalgia backlash with Mario Party 1, 2, and 3 boards, mini games with our online Mario Party. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one Mario
The
Party
boss
game
battle
plays out.
episodes, a new
It'll be one
power
of those games that I
awakens
for sure
parts
cover
1
on
and
the
2 is also
on the
included.
channel and whatnot.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, plus a new
Whoa,
Power
curb your
Awakens set
excitement
punches
there a
its way
little bit.
onto Nintendo Switch September 24th.
Plus a new Power Awakens set. Okay, so
Grab a
there's
golf club
this.
and get ready to tee off.
Yeah, this is something that we'll be covering on the channel in the near future, is
The
Mario Golf Super Rush.
game launches soon.
I've never played a Mario
Quick
Golf game.
glimpse into each of
The last
modes.
Nintendo golf game, the last and
Standard golf.
only golf game I think I've ever
Take your
played in my
time to
life
read
was
the
like
wind
Wii
and
Sports
terrain on
Golf.
the greens.
I think that's the only time that I've ever played like any golf video game.
Hit different types of shots.
And I very
aim for
rarely
under par.
played golf in general, but I mean... I'm gonna rage at this game. I semi-raged at freaking Mario Tennis Aces. That was also because I didn't know that I could level up, so I was stuck at like base power throughout the entire game. So the game wound up being like way harder than it was supposed to be, because I didn't know. But I feel like this is gonna easily be the kind of game where I freaking, you know, I'm putting and the ball lands right in front of the hole, and I just spike the controller down. Like, what the hell? You know, a freaking rage. This is all footage that they've shown before. This isn't anything new. This is literally all recycled footage that they've shown before. Oh, that's new.
Free updates are planned for future release. including
Okay, now
additional
they're
courses
showing
and
new
playable
footage.
characters.
You've always raged in golf. It's just
Fairway's
one of those
almost open.
games.
So set your tea time and get ready to ace those
I'm gonna be a
shots
Waluigi
in
player, let me
Mario
tell you.
Golf Super Rush,
That's what I
coming
was
onto
in
the Nintendo
freaking
Switch system
Mario
June
Tennis
25th.
Aces. Yeah, we'll be hopping
Pre-orders
into
are
that in
available now on Nintendo eShop.
10 days from now, I guess. But yeah.
Ready for the ride of a lifetime?
Mortis, please don't mention stuff in the chat
Welcome
before
to
I
the
freaking
vast and
see it.
vibrant
You
world
mentioned
of
that like a
Monster
few
Hunter.
seconds before it even appeared here. Like, I should be updated, but like... Yeah, I've never actually
As a
played
rider
Monster
in
Hunter
this
myself.
RPG adventure,
Wait,
you'll
yes I
explore
have,
diverse
but like
landscapes
only the
by
one
riding
time.
Monster, a monster companion.
Only the one time with the freaking double cross
Gather
on the
materials
Switch,
such as
I think
honey
it
and
is.
ore, then use them to craft items
But-
for your journey.
I couldn't get into it. Don't worry about that, but
But beware of the
But
many
yeah,
monsters roaming about.
I don't think Monster Hunter is
Some are
quite my
docile,
thing. I know
but others
freaking
may
everybody
suffer
that
an
I've talked
ambush.
to who's played it before though has always
To
really
fight,
liked it.
you'll
I have a
team up
cousin
with your
who
Monstie and use
played
weapons
World
and
a whole
skills
bunch.
to overwhelm enemy monsters in
And
turn-based
whatnot.
battles. Win, and you'll be
So, I
rewarded
mean-
with their materials. Which can
Yeah,
be
I don't
used
think
for
it's my
unique weapons and
kind
armor.
of series personally. Like, I freaking
Is that an
played
egg?
Double Cross on the
Might be
Switch and I was like, yeah, this is just
Incredibly
so
powerful
boring to
Monsties
me.
also hatch from rare
Is
eggs.
what it was like. It was just
Need more
so
traveling buddies?
freaking.
Join up with friends for co-op
It was just
multiplayer
so
quests and
tedious. It
battles.
was. The hunts would take
Buckle up,
3,000
Ryder.
years.
It's
I got
going to be a
so
real
bored.
monster of
I
an
would
adventure.
literally lose interest like
Monster Hunter Stories 2,
mid-monster
Wings
hunt
of Ruin
from it
soars
taking
onto
so
Nintendo
long.
Switch July 9th.
Definitely not for me. So
You can play the free demo on
So
June
there's
25th
that.
and carry over your save data to the full game.
yeah, sorry, but that is one that we're not going to be doing on the channel. I don't think.
Here's a new game from the
There's a new WarioWare game?
a certain company.
Is there? Are they finally going to put freaking Waluigi in WarioWare? Hopefully. There's that too much to ask for. It's probably too much to ask for, isn't it?
It's a me,
But-
Wario.
It's a me, Wario.
It's a finally ready. A brand new game.
I can
from
literally
my
imagine
company.
Charles
Check it out.
Martinet
You get
doing
to
this
control
voice.
Me. Time to do this.
Okay, new WarioWare game is pretty neat.
Rats. Check out these chumps. They came
Check out
back,
these chumps.
and they have wonderful new talents.
This is the most we've ever heard Wario voice acting from Charles Martinet, right?
Use the spinning, whatchamacallit. Ha! Nailed it.
I don't think we've ever heard so much of Wario's voice before.
Different abilities.
That's interesting. Ah, my nose itchy.
Wah, I almost forgot
No
some
Waluigi.
big news.
Come on,
Two
Waluigi.
people
Gosh
can
darn
play
it.
Together at the same time.
That's hype, but not as hype as
So
Waluigi.
play nice or else.
That's not as hype as Waluigi, though.
Not nice. All right.
WarioWare are like
The one
a
watching
very
this,
unique
get
series of
ready for
games,
some
to be
micro
frank.
game mayhem.
So, dang it, no
The
Waluigi.
WarioWare Get It Together game launches exclusively on the Nintendo
I've had fingers
Switch
crossed for a
system
long
September
time that
10th.
Waluigi could have a place in
Pre-orders begin
WarioWare.
today on
But,
Nintendo eShop.
what on DS had full voice acting? Huh. Interesting. But yeah, we'll
What you
play
just
that
saw was
on the
trailer
channel.
For WarioWare. Get it together. In the latest
But yeah,
installment of this series,
I
there
met
are
Charles
new
Martinet
microgames
briefly
that
at
let you control
a Comic-Con
Wario with
event.
his friends.
He was honestly a hella nice
There's
guy.
also a two-player
He was like
co-op
super
mode,
hyped to be there and
which
meet
greatly
people and
expands
whatnot.
the gameplay.
And I can literally
It's
imagine
releasing
him.
in the near future,
I can
so
literally
stay
just see
tuned.
in my head him doing, you know,
Next,
those lines
please
there.
Take a look at this.
Please take a look of this. It's a rare Pepe. Well, something that I'm almost certainly gonna know nothing about, right?
Living in Tokyo, your life is fairly normal.
I've never played a Persona game before, but I'd bet you that that's something what this is about or something. I don't know.
But that reality is upended
I don't know.
after you get pulled into a
Oh,
different
no.
dimension.
I hate it when that happens. I'm literally just minding my business, going to class, living my day, and then I get sucked into a dark dimension. It's freaking awful. Somebody needs to do something about
Another
this.
Tokyo
You know?
exists. A post-apocalyptic world
Oh no.
where angels and demons reside.
That just sounds like actual life. That just sounds like reality. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mysterious figure.
I don't know why his design cracked me up. But,
Lies ahead in this alternate realm.
what is this? Okay, Shin Megami Tensei. So it is another. So it is kind of one of those things. I was kind of on the right track.
Transformed into a sprawling sprawling,
essentially.
demon-infested wasteland.
But yeah, I never played Persona, never played a Shin Megami Tensei game. I know that there was like the crossover with Fire Emblem that one time, but it was like very, very strange looking to me, and
Harness your newfound powers to
I never
fight demons
freaking
using
picked
a
it up.
command-based system. Finding their
Weakness.
is key.
I didn't read that as weakness at first because the freaking text was weird and stuff. Wow, cool. I'm so hyped about freaking never trust Aerie.
You may be able
These
to
are Karens in the real world, imagine.
which begin when you open a conversation with them.
What is this, Undertale?
If a negotiation is successful, a demon will become a powerful ally.
Okay, maybe not quite
In
Undertale
some
kind of thing,
cases,
but like
by rejecting
sorta.
a demon's request, they may feel motivated and join you.
Yeah, Undertale pacifist route.
Demons that do
What you can
join
do or
will
something.
fight alongside you and grow stronger
That is so cursed looking.
by fusing demon allies.
Oh, no.
Another demon can be created.
Oh.
The newly fused demon's innate abilities will vary, granting you a powerful ally,
Well.
customized to your needs and playstyle.
Well then, huh? That's certainly something, isn't it?
Challenge the many demons roaming
Also, I
this
apologize if the video quality isn't
world
always the best. That's what
by
happens when you have like
harnessing
hundreds
the
of
power
thousands of
their
people viewing a thing, I guess, and like it's set to its best settings, but like there's gonna be a little bit of blur. So like all these trailers and stuff are gonna look better, like looking at them as a dedicated video after the stream than they are now. So
Pre-orders for the physical version begin June 21st.
but yeah, I don't think that's a thing that we'd be doing on the channel.
That was the
I don't
latest
think.
trailer for Shin Megami Tensei 5.
I don't know. I've
from
never played one of
Atlas.
them games before, so I don't really know.
This is the newest game in the series. Please look forward to future updates.
This is the newest game in the series. Whoa,
Let's
it's
see a
almost
few
like it's an
more
upcoming
Nintendo Switch
release.
headlines.
10 years of Danganronpa. I've heard of that. I don't know anything about it, quite frankly. I swear, this is a lot of stuff that I know nothing about.
Mic check 1, 2. This is a test of the
But-
school broadcast system.
But there's that. You're wacky looking, aren't you? Well then, I didn't get the chance to freaking read that. I have heard some of its music before. I have heard like several remixes by like remixing channels that I follow and whatnot. So I can say that some of the music's pretty nice.
Other high school students in a game of literal life and death. Unfortunately, the only way out of the school and this lethal game is to betray the other students. And so it begins.
A body has been discovered.
When a student meets their demise,
Dead
class
body
proudly
reported.
reveal the culprit.
You're the culprit, aren't you, Mia?
Tanya, I had no idea.
They're probably
I
moved
don't
the
know
body
anything
there.
about
Use the evidence you've
Danganronpa,
gathered to refute
but is this like a
contradictions
weird
and
freaking
guilty
Phoenix
parties.
Wright kind of situation? This is like an Ace Attorney kind of thing? This is just Ace Attorney but more anime? I don't know. Ace Attorney's already pretty anime.
Are you okay?
So, I mean... What the hell
board
did
game
this just
from
become?
Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony has been expanded into a standalone game. Danganronpa S.
So that's how it's pronounced, Danganronpa or something, I don't know.
Danganronpa series
Danganronpa.
together to battle at a tropical
It sounds like
resort.
it sounds like he's
It's the
pronouncing it with a
strongest
K.
of them all
Isn't it
in
like a
this
G?
ultimate beach brawl.
I don't know.
The 4-game collection
Danganronpa.
Decadence
It sounded like he said
launches as a physical
Danganronpa,
exclusive
like
on
with a
Nintendo
K.
Switch later this year. All 4 games will also be individually
Oh.
available on Nintendo eShop.
Interesting. Well, I mean, isn't this a game that like
We
Shuck
hope
played?
You're not afraid of ghosts.
I don't know. I don't freaking. Yeah, I've freaking never played anything like this before. I'm pretty sure this is something that I saw Shuck playing on her stream though. She was going around freaking snapping photos.
In this horror adventure game,
And
you
stuff.
uncover the mysteries
I'm fairly certain,
surrounding
right?
the ethereal but deadly Mount Hikami, believed
I'm
to be
fairly
at the
certain.
center of many disappearances. Ghosts
Fairly certain
frequent
I
this
saw
mountain.
her streaming
Your
this.
only defense is a camera that can repel and cast them out.
Yeah, I kind of remember seeing
Face
this
your
on
fears
Shuck's
as you
stream.
explore a variety
That's
of
like all I've
unsettling
ever seen of this. Genesis trophy?
This
Maybe. I
spine-chilling
don't know.
Story features various
I think so.
protagonists, letting you experience the game from different perspectives.
No, I've seen her play
New
this.
costumes
I've seen
and
her play
photos
this. I've
are
played
included in this
Phasmophobia with her. I know what Phasmophobia
Can you
looks like.
investigate
I've seen her
Mount
play
Hikami
this before.
and
I've seen
stay
Shuck
alive?
stream Fatal Frame.
Fatal Frame, Maiden of Black Water creeps onto Nintendo Switch this year.
Interesting.
These games and DLC are coming soon.
Age of Calamity?
Some even today.
Age of Calamity DLC today? What is this? Oh, interesting.
Not over. Raise hell in the first campaign expansion.
Oh, that's a DLC expansion. At first I was like, oh, Doom's coming to this. It was apparently already on the Switch, and I just wasn't ever paying attention. Actually, maybe I knew it, but I probably forgot. I don't remember anymore. I've never played a Doom game. This is a whole lot of stuff that I've never gotten into before. There's a lot of games out there, and already my GameCube is backed up enough on stream. Because, my goodness, there's so many video games out there, you know. But yeah, Doom music is art. It's not quite for me. I had a friend in high school who was like hella into Doom and kept sending me Doom music, and I was like, I don't get it. So, great skate.
Defining jams as the legendary Tony Hawk and a roster of new and returning pros.
Wonderful. Wow. Yeah. Don't expect this on the channel. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Drop into Tony Hawk's
Don't expect that.
1 and 2, launching on Nintendo Switch June 25th.
Aren't those like classic games or something? So that's probably gonna make a bunch of people happy. This is a okay, I was about to say. I was about to say with the art style for a hot second, if that was about to be like a Bayonetta 3 kind of situation. That'd probably have its own like dedicated thing, not like a mini thing like this.
In this thrilling adventure, you'll blast through an army of mummified monstrosities while solving puzzles in booby-trapped dungeons.
Oh yeah, I love shooting things to solve puzzles. I mean, I have played games that have done that plenty before. I know nothing about this. Yarr! What's your favorite letter of the alphabet? Is it R? Because I'm rather fond of the C. Oh, that was it for upcoming games. Okay, this I'm hyped for. I've been planning on covering the original Mario plus Rabbids game on stream for a while. I played it when it came out, which was like a little bit before I became a content creator, which is like a smidge before I became a content creator, like half a year before, something like that. But honestly, the original was one of my favorite Switch games. It's so dang good. It's so funny. I love it so much. And it's like such a fun game gameplay-wise as well. So I'm like honestly really hyped that there's a sequel coming out for it. So I can't wait to see what's being held with that. And like I said, I've been planning on covering the original Mario plus Rabbids title on this channel for a while. So the fact that I now have an excuse to do so is great, honestly. Yeah, Mystery Dungeon DLC? I doubt it. If you're expecting you playing Tony Hawk, you do not have bought this subscribing on YouTube. Really don't like Tony Hawk then? Choked on your coffee, you don't expect Peach Red. Did you never see the original game, Anima? When we cover, if you freaking tune into us covering the original Mario plus Rabbids, then you're in for a real treat. What the hell is this? But anyway, if we... Yo, it's Advance Wars! It literally is Advance Wars. I said that as a joke, but it actually is. Like, I realized mid-sentence that it actually was. Well, I never played an Advance Wars game, but I never realized they were so freaking cartoony. Unless that's like a newer thing. It literally looks like plastic. They literally look like freaking toys. That's what they look like. I mean, that's probably the intention, but it's weird. I don't know if it's my kind of art style.
As you lead the commanding officers to victory. Play the first 2 Advance Wars campaigns in Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. Marching on to Nintendo Switch this holiday.
Interesting.
Pre-orders begin today on Nintendo eShop.
Interesting. Well, there's that, I guess.
How is everything?
But yeah, anyway, we're going to be covering the original Mario plus Rabbids on the channel here in the near future once my schedule opens up a little bit. All I got to do is, like, do it sometime before the sequel releases. So we've got plenty of time. Okay, here's the Age of Calamity DLC thingamabob. Let me guess, it's going to freaking release the first one today since it was just announced to be, like, June 2021. So I'll probably be hopping into it later today. Oh, the freaking Master Cycle. I was planning on releasing my, video essay on Age of Calamity. Oh, cool! I was planning on releasing my Age of Calamity video essay, on the day that they released this thingamabob. But honestly, I'm planning on posting like several other videos today. So if this is releasing today, I'm gonna have to wait. Is the thing, which is kind of unfortunate because in my video, In my actual video essay, I say like, oh, what better day to release this than today, the release date of Age of Calamity's DLC. I might not actually wind up releasing it on the day, so like, whoops, if that's the case. Whoa, that's cool. That's pretty hype. Oh, June. Okay, perfect. It's not today. Okay, that actually works. So I'll upload that video June 18th in that case. Sounds good to me. That works. That's pretty hype.
Hello there.
Hi.
I'm Eiji Aonuma,
Hi.
producer of the Legend of Zelda series.
Are you bringing Breath of the
What
Wild
you've
2
just
stuff?
seen is a trailer for the first wave of
Maybe,
DLC for the Hyrule Warriors.
That's pretty
Age
neat
of
though.
Calamity
That's pretty
expansion
neat though. I know a
packs
lot of
from
people are in hot
Koei Tecmo
anticipation of Breath of the Wild 2 news.
It will follow Link
For
and
stuff
his
like this,
allies
I'm
through
not.
more
I don't really
battles that
care
took
too
place
much.
100
I
years
mean,
prior to the
I love
events
Breath
of
of the
Legend
Wild's
Zelda:
gameplay.
Breath
I
of
don't
the
like its
Wild.
story and
I hope
music.
you'll look
So like,
forward
I
to
have
it.
mixed feelings about the whole thing.
I have a few more things to share with you all today.
So it's gonna be something like that.
We'll begin with the Legend of Zelda
Oh.
Skyward Sword HD game, which
Skyward
launches
Sword
next
is my
month.
favorite Zelda game, but I'm not hyped for this. Let me just tell
You'll
you.
immerse yourself in
Like-
the role of Link by using 2 Joy-Con
This was
controllers
literally my
from
first
intuitive
Zelda game I ever
motion
played.
controls.
We literally just recently
Or
finished
playing
covering it on the
handheld,
channel with the Wiimote Rifle
wielding the
Challenge.
sword via flicking the stick and button
I do
only controls.
absolutely have a soft spot for Skyward Sword, but
This
let me
game
tell you
depicts
right
the
now, I'm
oldest era
really
in the
not
Legend of
hyped
Zelda
for this.
series, the story of how it all began.
Talks so quietly, no, he's not talking our
origin of the
language, but
Master
still,
Sword?
yeah, so you can hear the translator
Why
over the
did
original
woman named
voice.
Zelda become
You're
the
just supposed to like
legend
hear
for
the
future
original voice in the
generations?
background a little bit so that you
These
know,
will all be
hear him a little bit and
unraveled in
understand
this
how
game.
he's feeling, but so you don't hear his words, considering there's a
We
translator
hope you're looking
and
forward to
such.
the Legend
So I
of
mean,
Zelda Skyward Sword HD.
I'm not. I mean,
Next up,
freaking full-priced HD emulation.
here's a little something you might like.
They could have just
This is a Game
freaking
& Watch
interesting.
system that lets you play
They
3
literally
games in the
could have
Legend of
just put the
Zelda
virtual
series.
console on the
This
Switch
year,
already,
the
like people
original
thought that they
Legend
were
of
gonna
Zelda
do
game
like
reaches
for
its
years now.
35th
But
anniversary.
instead they were like,
While
nah,
we don't have
let's
any
just release our
campaigns or
oldest
other
games
Nintendo
of like
Switch games
NES
planned.
and SNES as an incentive
We've been
for
working
our
on this Game & Watch
online
system as a
disservice.
special
And
item to
freaking
help
every
mark the
other
occasion and
like
reflect fondly
classic
on
game
the
that we have,
earliest days
we're
of
gonna
The
like
Legend of
cherry
Zelda.
pick from for like which ones we want to emulate at HD and release
It
at
will
full
come
price.
with the
And I think
first
that it's a
game in the series,
freaking,
The Legend of Zelda,
it's so
Zelda
dumb.
2, The Adventure of Link,
But yeah.
and the Game Boy version.
Why
of
does
The
Game &
Legend of
Watch still
Zelda:
exist?
Link's
Because people will
Awakening,
pay for it. And people will pay for
as
something
well
that's
as
still
a
gonna
special
exist.
version of the Game & Watch title Vermin, starring
So, I
Link
mean-
as the playable character. So that's 4 games
Wow.
on one system.
Wow,
to
4
wonder
games in
Legend of
one
Zelda
system.
games to
It's
the pick
almost
up and
like
play
that's
game
freaking
Vermin.
only a handful of megabytes they could easily slap on
In
anything
addition,
else.
regarding the watch functionality for the Game & Watch system, we've added a playable clock based on The Legend of Zelda,
But what do I know?
and an interactive timer themed after Zelda 2.
What
The
do I know
Adventure of
about
Link.
stuff and junk?
You can play
Well-
with both of them by taking control of Link.
Wow.
We hope you'll enjoy playing this Game & Watch
Scalpers are
system
gonna be all over
whenever
that.
and wherever you'd like.
Scalpers are having freaking wet dreams tonight after the announcement of that.
All right, here's the last thing we have to show you. This is the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath
Okay.
of the Wild.
I have mixed feelings about it
2
because of my
years
mixed
have
feelings about
passed
Breath of the
since we
Wild.
first
I
announced
mean,
this game, and we've been unable to share anything with you in that time.
I'm very, very
However,
good at Breath of the
development
Wild.
has
Anybody
been
that's seen my
steadily
playthrough on that
progressing.
game knows
So
that. I know how to
today,
break that game
we've
in
prepared
half.
some new footage to show a
So,
bit more of the game.
I very much
Please
hope
take
that
a
this
look.
game has the same engine so I can break it in half as well. I think that'd be really cool. Because I would very much like to break it now. Is this literally just leading off from like where the last trailer ended off? Because if so, that's a pretty cool kind of trailer design. I just imagine that Kirby meme of Kirby falling down the cliff and going, ah! The freaking guy just screaming. Oh, that's interesting. Hopefully the game actually has a good... Oh, look, his arm's all fucked up. Hopefully the game actually has a good soundtrack this time instead of it being exclusive to the trailers. Because freaking Breath of the Wild had like the most incredible trailer music ever. But then like, you know, the soundtrack in-game was basically non-existent. So hopefully this music that we're hearing right now, it's freaking the spinner thing from Super Mario Galaxy 2 basically. Hopefully the good music that we're hearing this time isn't like exclusive to the trailer. Fingers crossed. Is Hyrule Castle going up like Skylab? No. Why? I don't know why it's cracking me up. Oh man. That Zelda's Lullaby playing? Well, this looks pretty cool. I'm gonna be frank. So like a whole bunch of floating islands and stuff. And like new mechanics and all kinds of fun stuff. I do hope that it runs off the same engine so I can break it in half.
What did you think?
But we shall see.
Hair
physics now, so he has longer hair now. Or he like let it down or whatnot.
I'd like to ask you to wait a bit longer.
Interesting.
We're aiming for a 2022 release. So
Okay.
I hope you'll look forward to it.
Okay, so we can expect it in 2023. Good to know. Or freaking, I don't know, 2024. Breath of the Wild got delayed so many times, so... I mean, I do not expect this game for 2022. If they're saying they're expecting a 2022 release, that means we're not getting it in 2022. Skylove goes down, Hyrule Castle goes up, I guess so.
Thank you for watching.
Wow, that's been 40 minutes. Time flies. Time flies, doesn't it? Wow. Wow. That was interesting, though. So, I saw... For anybody that remembers the original Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, there was a bit where freaking Link's arm gets grabbed and like by the spearty thingamabob. Oh, I guess there's like the 3-hour thingamabob that they're doing. But I was about to like scan over here because it seems like the arm that he got like grabbed on got all like screwed up and like stuff. So,
and I have to say, I found myself smiling.
So that's interesting.
Presentation.
So I wonder if he's you know, gonna have any special properties with his right arm or something like that. That's now all
incredible.
That's now all weird and stuff. Yeah, that's it.
What did you think?
Oh, well, Doug, they had me at the first mysterious red tendril. You know what a massive Zelda fan I am.
Is the voice desynced from the video?
I'm frankly just looking forward to seeing all the games that are in the pipeline.
I think the voice is slightly desynced from the video.
We've got Mario Party Superstars, WarioWare Get It
Anyway,
Together,
that's interesting though.
Hyrule Warriors Age
Interesting.
Calamity, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, Mario.
But yeah, like I said, I do have mixed feelings about Breath of the Wild. I literally have a 3-hour video essay on the subject, so I definitely have a lot to say about Breath of the Wild and such.
Well, that's okay. I think
my general feelings were I really didn't like the fact that freaking there was basically no story in the here and now. Almost all of the story of Breath of the Wild took place 100 years before the plot of the game, and therefore you basically don't get to experience much story at all in like the actual game that you're playing. Instead, you just get freaking IMDb chapter synopsises through like the flashbacks that you collect around the world that you can collect in any order. So you never actually get to experience the story of Breath of the Wild. So the story completely falls apart for that reason. And the soundtrack, like, there are some jammer themes in Breath of the Wild, like Sidon's theme, freaking jammer. Listen to that all day. But, like, the general kind of themes were just, it sounded like somebody playing piano for the first time, you know, rather than an actual flushed out kind of soundtrack. And a lot of people were like, oh, that's just because they went for atmospheric now instead of, like, in-your-face adventurous. And it's not like what Breath of the Wild did was like, this is what atmospheric is, there's no other way to do atmospheric and the only other possibility is in-your-face adventurous. I think that there are ways to do atmospheric, but Breath of the Wild freaking sucked at it. I think that good examples of an atmospheric soundtrack are things like Octopath Traveler, with cases like the Frostlands, the Riverlands. Things that aren't like in your face, but there's still like active soundtracks that build the world around you without like overstaying their presence or like freaking being in your face too much, being something nice and chill in the background, but still being like active and building the world around you and such, you know? But Breath of the Wild just does not at all do that and kind of misses the point of a soundtrack in that case, in my opinion, since it doesn't really do anything most of the time. It's not there most of the time. So, I did really like the gameplay of Breath of the Wild generally, it's especially fun when you know how to break it in half. But you know, I do hope that, you know, they get their shit together for the freaking music of the sequel. And the story, they can't just do another, there's no way that they can pull off another plot of like 100 years ago if that's like a sequel to Breath of the Wild, right? They actually are forced to make a plot in the here and now for the Breath of the Wild sequel, right? If they pull another, this story already happened and you're just getting chapter synopsises of it in the Breath of the Wild 2, I'm probably never gonna buy a Zelda game again. But I would assume that with a sequel, with Breath of the Wild, they've got to actually do a story in the here and now, right? Rather than rather than just being like, yep, the story already happened. You can hear about it, you never get to experience it. Like, they've got to actually do a story that you experience now, right? So fingers crossed. I think there definitely seem to be some interesting things going on there, like the tunneling through. I mean, it was interesting how Link could go through surfaces and whatnot. It's funny in Breath of the Wild, though, if you're experienced enough of the game, you don't need any special mechanic like that. You can clip through things anyway. I mean, it's way easier to clip through a wall than it is the ground, and in that clip that we saw earlier, Link clipped through, you know, the ground into the surface, which, you know, I can't do that. I can clip through basically any flat surface wall in the game, but... So it is directly continuing the 2D Metroid story. So if we covered it on the channel, I'd probably want to do like the other ones first. But that's interesting. Anyway, Lancer, you managed to stay up and watch the presentation. It was actually pretty good. Yeah, I generally enjoyed it. I wish that with WarioWare, Waluigi was in it already. But yeah, I don't know if Metroid is the kind of thing that I could get into personally, just because, like, the whole thing feels like, you know, the entire world is a puzzle and a tedious thing where I have to, like, backtrack over and over again to find, like, the one place where I gotta do the thing. And I don't like that kind of thing. You know? Like, I don't mind game worlds that are open and such. Like, cases like Breath of the Wild, as I was mentioning. That's a case where it's like an open world where it's like, go have your own adventure. But in a case like Metroid, it's like, here's the world open to you. Go and find the one specific place you have to do the thing you need to figure out. And it's like, okay, where could that be, I wonder? And you have no idea. So, I don't know if they're my kinds of games per se. I do own the Metroid Prime trilogy on my Wii U, and I've thought about covering it on the channel before, but I've been hesitant just because I don't know if it's necessarily my kind of game per se. But yeah, surprised that they didn't even mention triangle strategy. That would have been neat. That would have been neato. And yeah, it seems like it comes after Metroid Fusion. Seems like yeah, now the sound effects seem synced up. Part of the scenes there seem like slightly jank, but for the most part it seems pretty cool, honestly. Ooh, there's a spiky thing that comes out the front. Interesting. Advance Wars remake didn't see. Yeah, I definitely didn't see that coming either. I don't know if I like the art style of it, but oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's certainly something, isn't it? Jeez. Whoa, jeez. Brutal. Woo. But that's really interesting, though. I think that's cool that the Switch is going to be getting, like, a new Metroid Prime game and a new 2D Metroid game. So they're literally calling it Metroid 5, and it's continuing the 2D thingamabob, and I guess Prime is doing its own kind of thingamabob. That's interesting. They've got, like, the 2D Metroid series and the 3D Metroid series. That's interesting. That's interesting. And I think that's interesting that they're, you know, committing to doing that instead of, you know, giving up on it like it seemed like they would for a long time. It'd only be nice if they'd, you know, bring back some other series like freaking Pikmin, apart from the port with like some new content. Bring back F-Zero, bring back other things. Hello, Guzma. What do you think of the direct there? But yeah, honestly, I'm pretty satisfied with the direct myself. I'm pretty satisfied. A few people saying it's disappointing. Best E3 presentation so far. I think that there's some things to be excited about there, but I mean, most of, like, there were some unexpected things there, like Metroid 5, for example. But I mean, most of the stuff that was mentioned there was kind of stuff that was expected, like, you know, already going into it and such. So I guess it wasn't anything like too out there and new. Like, they did reveal some new things that were pretty interesting, like WarioWare and the Mario Party thingamabob going on, but yeah. So yeah, literally is a new 2D Metroid game. Interesting. I know that it'll definitely very much appeal to, like, the players of the original kind of games and whatnot. The biggest concern that I have about games like these is, like, how much they'll be able to appeal to, ooh, that's cool, to a new player base and such, to those who haven't played some of these games before. Like, how many of those are gonna get into this? Like, it absolutely seems like a love letter for for fans of the series. But for those who aren't already fans of the series, how easy is it going to be for them to get into? Like, that's what I wonder. That's what I wonder. Those machines are freaking crazy. Those are absolutely crazy looking things, aren't they? Ooh, that's cool. Interesting. Interesting. Still a chance for grow file for Smash, not gonna happen, but a nostalgic fan can dream. If they ever include PMD in Smash, I would just want them to like include alts and like a map and music. But that would be the kind of thing where it's like, it's either base game or not at all, you know? So, but yeah. Glad we got to see Breath of the Wild 2 news. Yeah, we got freaking Link with his arm all screwed up and stuff. And whatnot. I don't know if we're gonna be like streaming through this. We can always like switch on over and like actually stream a video game and whatnot of our own. Now that they're going back to the survival horror kind of thing, Metroid Fusion. Yeah, I think that that's intriguing, especially with the like super spooky kind of bots there that hunt you down. I think that's actually really cool. I think that that's rather intriguing and whatnot. But yeah, they're doing their treehouse thingamabob. I know that there is going to be like some more E3 stuff going on later today with some other things. I think that the one big thing that we're going to be tuning into later today when it comes to E3 is seeing what's going on with the Dark Deity stuff, as we mentioned recently during Fire Emblem stuff and junk. But that might be like the only E3 thingamabob later today that we're tuning into. I'm kind of glad that I don't have to hop into Age of Calamity DLC like right now. So it comes out on the 18th, huh? So that's this Friday. Okay, yeah, we can hop into that this Friday. But yeah. I mean, wait, it's only told you that there isn't anything new in Breath of the Wild 2 from the original. There's floating islands, there's Link with a fucked up arm. Link can now go through freaking surfaces without needing to, like, exploit glitches like I already freaking do. There's the new stasis mechanics, there's freaking, hopefully actually a plotline in the here and now, rather than, you know, telling a story that already happened. That trailer freaking already revealed a lot about it that really seems to set it apart from the original, in my opinion. And hopefully, because I have freaking mixed feelings about the original. I hope that it's very set apart from the original. I hope that I can like it way more than the original. We'll see. We'll see. Like, it seems like it runs off the same general engine, so hopefully I can still do things like shield clipping. We could switch over to streaming some Breath of the Wild 2 right now. Not Breath of the Wild 2, the original Breath of the Wild right now. I don't think I'm going to, though, but it is a fun game to, like, chill with. But no, I do think that that revealed, like, plenty of new freaking stuff. Like, we can always have a look at some of the stuff that was shown here. Like, this gives me almost like a Skyward Sword Skyloft kind of vibes is what this does with the whole floating islands kind of thingamabob. And the whole falling from the skies seem to imply that there's like some way, it's probably not going to be loft wings or anything like that, but there seems to be some way that you can, you know, start falling from above, which I think is a really cool kind of thing. Look how fucked up his arm is. That's rather neat, isn't it? Like, what the heck? It got that whole, like, ancient look thingamabob. It reminds me of that old, like, Ether Realm mod from, like, the freaking, like, a decade and a half ago in Minecraft. Like, what's going on with his arm here? I think that's cool. I think that's cool with the taluses and whatnot. Yeah, he's freaking got a... he's the Winter Soldier now, is what he is. But I think that's interesting. There's going to be some new things that you can do with stasis. I guess there's a new flame power. What is that freaking monster that's over there? Yeah, it seems like it's almost certainly going to run off the same engine and whatnot. So hopefully, assuming they didn't patch the glitches, I should still be able to break this game in half, I hope. Is that a wall master? But yeah, being able to go through surfaces like that can help. Like, if it runs off the same engine and they didn't patch the glitches, I should still be able to clip through almost any vertical wall. But clipping through, like, a surface underneath you is where things get a little bit tricky. So if this is, like, an actual mechanic that I don't have to freaking try hard like crazy to be able to do, like with glitches, then freaking great, you know? Like, we'll be getting the Dumbledore treatment with the cursed arm and everything. Dumbledore had a cursed arm? Think the Switch can hold this? I mean, the original Breath of the Wild, the Switch could already barely handle. Especially if you know how to softlock the game and make it crash. Anybody that's seen my freaking Breath of the Wild Christmas special knows that there are ways that you can make the game crash if you want to. But in general, like, for the most part, the Switch was able to handle the original Breath of the Wild pretty well. And I mean, like, people really tend to underestimate the Switch a lot of the time. Like, I know that it's not the most powerful console ever, but the Switch did do a very good job of running the original Breath of the Wild, and they did a very good job of optimizing it to run well on that. And I'm sure that if there's like the same level of care there, I mean, it's gonna be like the same engine and stuff, it seems like, so I'm sure that this is probably gonna run well on the Switch. A lot of people tend to underestimate the Switch because a lot of game developers will look at the Switch and be like, yep, this console is just not super good, we're not gonna take the proper time to like optimize it and whatnot. So you see like a lot of Switch games out there just having like awful frame rate, awful graphics. I think the worst case I've ever seen of this was freaking the remake of SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, which on every other platform looked beautiful, but on the Switch looked like you were playing it directly from the Wii. It was so freaking awful. It looked worse than that. It looked like a weird freaking... It was like if a DS game and a Wii game had a weird unwanted child, is what that game looked like. And it was such an eyesore. Like, there's so many developers that will look at the Switch and be like, yep, this is the inferior console, because we don't have to like try very hard to like optimize things here and whatnot. Like, look at Pokemon Sword and Shield. The wild area can barely be run, even though there's like not a whole lot going on in there. But you look at cases like Breath of the Wild or whatnot, where, you know, it's running stuff like this and the Switch is handling it almost just fine because it's actually optimized well. But there's not a lot of companies that actually take that seriously because they're just like, oh, it's the Switch, it freaking sucks anyway. So I feel like there's this this kind of narrative out there that like, oh, the Switch is like so far behind that every game that like tries to do anything out there is going to struggle. But Breath of the Wild is proof that, like, if you take the time to, like, really optimize what you're doing for that console, it can absolutely be flushed out and run and play the way it was pretty much supposed to be played and whatnot. But unfortunately, there's not as many groups out there that freaking take the same level of care and are just like, yep, let's just, it's the Switch! People are gonna understand if this doesn't run, like, at all! But yeah, the Switch actually ran Dark Souls better than the 360 minus the bad audio quality. Interesting. People thought the Switch sucks, why bother putting it on the Switch anyway? Because money? Why wouldn't they? Why does anybody do anything when it comes to making a product? Why does anybody make any products at all? Because, like, for example, when it came to the SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom situation, I never played the original, but I heard really good things about it. And I know that it was coming out on a whole bunch of different consoles, and I was like, oh, I don't own like an Xbox or a PlayStation. I do own a PC, but why would I get it on PC when I can buy it on the Switch and, like, you know, have a bunch of my games on that console, which is also like the handheld thing, the most versatile thingamabob that I have. So let's pick it up on the Switch then. Like, that makes the most sense. So I picked it up on the Switch, and then I played it, and it was the freaking one of the biggest eyesores of a game I've ever seen in my life. You want to freaking see this? Hold on, let's just see this. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. Let's say, yeah, rehydrated. Let's say, PS. Is it already on the PS5? Let's just say PS4 for now, is what we'll do. Like, here's a freaking whatever this is. Like, have a look at what this looks like on the PS4. Like, that looks HD and, like, freaking good graphics and stuff, you know? But freaking, that's the PS4 version, and like every other version of the game essentially. But if I find the Switch version, where is it? I'm probably just gonna have to like scroll down a bit and then Control F it. Here we go. I played the Switch version. Want to see what this thing looked like? We'll go to roughly the same place. Want to see what the Switch version looks like? Come on, load. Look at this. Gosh darn it! I'm not even at full. Okay, just a second. That's good that it was just that. So now we like, should be able to make it up.
It's not actually as bad as I remember it being, but
bus stop right there.
I need to find one of the freaky super awful areas. This one I'm freaking.
At first I was like, is it all spice?
It's not the best to look at.
Always has been.
It's not the best to look at, to say the least.
Like, it's not freaking awful. It was worse on my screen in front of me when you're seeing up close the fact that, like, it's not even, like, full HD and you can see, like, the pixel and whatnot. It's just a weird kind of eyesore thingamabob. Looking at it like this, it's maybe not as bad as I remember it being. But, like, it's freaking, you know, it is clearly not full HD at all. It's clearly not even 720p. And it's just, it was a freaking weird eyesore. So a lot of companies will, like, still put their stuff on the Switch just for the sake of, like, having their stuff on the Switch and, like, another platform that people want to, you know, play it on. But, like, not take any time to, like, optimize it for that console and just be like, yep, let's just downgrade everything until it starts running properly instead of putting actual effort into, like, flushing this out. This doesn't have a shadow. This doesn't have a shadow. This whole thing is a freaking eyesore. What happened? You can literally freaking look at the pixels on the thingamabob. Anyway, so there's a this Shrek guy says it's hideous. It freaking is. So I feel like a lot of people underestimate the Switch because there's a lot of companies that are just like, yep, let's just slap it on that platform as well, and just, yeah, we have it on another platform and we have, like, more people that we're going to be selling it to in that case. But, you know, for those who actually do take the time to, like, really flush out their game, like, dedicated for the Switch and whatnot, they can absolutely, like, look how much better that looks. Look how clean that is. On every other platform. It's so much cleaner. Let's go to the same area. Like, look how much cleaner it looks. Does it look terrible to you? It's super bright, though. Trust me, it looks way worse if it's, like, full screen on, like, a monitor in front of you playing the thingamabob. Looks so much better there. But yeah, anyway. Cases like Breath of the Wild have absolutely proved that, you know, if the dedicated time is taken to, like, really optimize a game for the Switch, it can absolutely be, you know, run pretty alrighty. Breath of the Wild doesn't run perfectly. I mean, I say that coming from the perspective of somebody that knows how to soft lock the game in potentially more ways than I can count on my hand. But is it storming again? I thought I just heard thunder for a hot second. It was storming last night. But yeah, I'm freaking, this is distracting as heck. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. But yeah, as Mr. Krabs once said, that's better. More shadow on the PS4 to use, so really was an improvement there. Is basically all of Hyrule gonna, like, break apart and start floating up into the air? This is the same kind of, like, Calamity Ganon looking evil stuff. Is what's going on there. I think it's whack how Link is literally like the freaking Winter Soldier now. But, you know, I find it intriguing. I've mentioned many times before I have mixed feelings about Breath of the Wild. I hope that, like, I can enjoy this game a lot better than the original Breath of the Wild. We shall see. I mean, the first trailer ended with a mummified Coronado, and I think it's a really interesting trailer design, how, like, the next trailer seemed to pick up, like, immediately from where, like, the last one left off. Getting really tired of Ganon. That's just Zelda for you, I guess. There's that. Yeah, that's interesting, whatever the heck is going on with his hand over there. I do think that it's also nice that they were like, yeah, let's freaking change up his hair and have him, like, let it down and stuff like that. But yeah. Yeah, his arm's all screwed up. Interesting. It kind of gives me almost like Kid Icarus or Immortals Phoenix Rising vibes. That's what it almost does in a way. Is interesting. Yeah, he's the Winter Soldier now. Except with, like, other arm and whatnot. Wait, is that a freaking Min dragon arm? That's basically what that is, isn't it? Min dragon. Oh, it's an attachment on the shield. There's literally, like, a fire-breathing dragon attachment that he slapped on the shield. Huh. That's interesting. That's rather interesting, isn't it? I wonder if you'll be able to use that to clip through, walls horizontally as well, or just vertically. I mean, probably just vertically. if it does run on the same engine and they didn't patch the glitches, I can clip through any yours like vertical wall anyway. So I don't really exactly need it to let me clip through things sideways. It would make things slightly easier, but I don't exactly need that. If they retell Breath of the Wild story, I'd be mad. I really do hope that they tell like something original there, because Breath of the Wild story had potential. Let's be frank, it had potential. It had good things going for it. But it sucked because you never get to experience that story. The freaking story of Breath of the Wild in the here and now is wakey wakey Link, go screw up Ganon. But almost all the story that, you know, they tell is like, it already happened. Here's like some IMDb chapter synopsises instead of you actually getting to experience the story. Because one of the most unique things about video games as a medium for storytelling, it's the only media where your player is the one that's making events happen and unfold. Like, it's the actions of the player that drives the plot forward. No other media can do that. And Breath of the Wild took that and was like, screw it. Who needs a plot that is freaking driven forward by the player's actions? Let's just have the story be a thing that already happened instead of, you know, having it be the way games are, a freaking storytelling medium that are driven forward by the player's actions. Who needs to do that? So that's why I don't like Breath of the Wild story, because the whole thing that makes storytelling in video games such a unique medium for storytelling, Breath of the Wild was like, screw it! You know, but yeah. Yeah, graphics are the exact same. It's the same engine and whatnot. But yeah, ironic that Nintendo are the only ones that can make art on the Switch, not counting ports like Undertale. Depends what you classify as art on the Switch and by Nintendo. Do you mean like anything with Nintendo's name on it? Or like just in-house Nintendo stuff? Because there are plenty of games that have been like published by Nintendo but made by like other companies that are absolutely gorgeous on the Switch. Like Astral Chain, for example. Astral Chain is beautiful. Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, Rescue Team DX. There's a lot of freaking gorgeous games on the Switch. Those ones are all published by Nintendo though, it's worth noting. Every one of those games that I listed is published by Nintendo. I mean, I can freaking go through my game case here and let you know if there's other like beautiful looking games. Yeah, Octopath Traveler. Okay, that's a really good example there. Octopath Traveler is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. Like, let's just see here. When it comes to what's in my game case that wasn't developed by Nintendo, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle right here is a Ubisoft game. Interestingly enough, that is something that we are going to cover in the channel very soon. We could cover it right now. Actually, we have some other playthroughs going on. I'm very tempted to hop into Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle right now if that's something people like. It's probably a bad idea to do it right now considering the other games going on. But it's such a fun game. I'm really, really tempted to, honestly. Part of me really wants to just randomly hop into Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle right now, honestly. Yeah, Xenoblade 1 and 2 and Astral Chain, really good looking. I mean, what they did for Assassin's Creed 4 with the Rebel Collection on the Switch, it honestly looks like pretty much nearly just as good as like other platforms anyway. I thought that was really, really neat. That freaking Assassin's Creed 3 on the Switch was not at all optimized for the Switch and was like the glitchiest version of the game I've ever seen. But Assassin's Creed 4 on the other hand was actually optimized for the Switch and was actually pretty cool. I actually quite liked Assassin's Creed 4 on the Switch. I look forward to hopping into Rogue here in the near future. Yeah, there's Octopath Traveler. That's a very nice looking game and whatnot. But Daylight is so ugly on the Switch. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, depends on which company we talk about. Spike Chunsoft, yes. Core Nintendo, yes. Game Freak, no. What do you mean? What do you mean, Freak? Oh, let's see here. Pokemon Legends Arceus. What you mean Game Freak doesn't know how to make beautiful looking stuff? Where's the starters? Aren't you hyped for freaking Pokemon Legends Arceus coming to the Nintendo GameCube in 2022? Or coming to Gmod or VR chat or whatever the hell these models look like they're from? What do you mean Game Freak doesn't make good looking stuff? Like what the what the hell? But yeah, it's funny, in my video essay criticizing the modern state of Pokemon, and I bring up the freaking graphics sucking in that, a lot of people freaking criticize my video essay being like, How can you say that? You can't judge it yet. That's a freaking pre-alpha. It's early footage. You know what else is a pre-alpha? This is a fucking pre-alpha. And look how good this looks, for example. But Game Freak can't be bothered to, like, do stuff. And when was the last time that, like, you know, a Game Freak game had its final product ship, like, looking so much vastly better than, like, trailers? Like, the whole point of a trailer is to, you know, show some of the best of what your game has to offer and really pull your potential players in. Not make it look like it was a game from literally 3 console generations ago and call it a day, you know? But yeah, it's a good thing Pokemon is the only video game franchise that exists. You're not wrong. Thank goodness Pokemon is the only video game franchise that exists and there's nothing else out there. What would we do without that? Thank goodness. Praise the Pokemon lords. But yeah, that's I guess that's where we'll wrap things up there. When it comes to currently ongoing things on the stream, we have freaking Miitopia ongoing that we could always hop into. There's Fire Emblem Fates, Tales of Vesperia. We could always do like some freaking Tales of Vesperia right now. I'm very, very tempted to hop into the original Mario plus Rabbids right now, because I'm honestly really hyped for the freaking sequel. I know that I really shouldn't, considering we've got 3 games going on right now, and later today we're probably going to be hopping into some Dark Deity to make it 4, so I really shouldn't add a 5th. Remember the first trailer for Sword and Shield? Look at comparison between that and the final release, and there won't be a single difference. Yeah. Not exactly the best. There was a meme that I included in my video essay on the modern state of Pokemon. If I can find it here. I have it somewhere in my memes folder. If I find it here. That I thought was really interesting, but also really sad. Oh, this isn't it, but this is another one that I think is relevant. Spot the $1 billion franchise. You know, where was the one that I actually included in my video essay, though? Where was it? I had it around here somewhere. Maybe I had it under a different category here. I might have. Maybe. Where? This thing, Bob. I find it, like, I looked into this. I was like, wait, this freaking kind of meme that I have saved to my computer, is this, like, actually the case? And I looked into it. And that is indeed the case. There was literally a development team of 40 developers on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 over the course of, you know, many years that developed one of the most breathtaking worlds I've ever seen in any video game ever. I love the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's probably one of my favorite game worlds ever made. It's literally so breathtaking. And, you know, at first I looked at this number and I was like, number of employees, 143. I was like, okay, maybe that's not actually reflective of, like, how many are directly, like, developing it, because that could also, you know, have to do with, like, other aspects of the process of making the game, like people that are involved with, like, any other branch and whatnot. But I looked into it, and it seems like it is confirmed, though, that it might not be 143 that are actually, like, directly working on the game itself, but the development team for Pokemon Sword and Shield is over 100 people, is the thing, making stuff that looks like this, whereas you have a freaking development team of, like, 40 people that are, like, really taking their time working on something and fleshing it out, and they're making freaking masterpieces of worlds looking like this. And then you got, like, freaking GameCube looking stuff over here, and it's like, what the hell? What is going on here? But yeah, I don't think that the solution to Pokemon there is them hiring more. I think it's them not doing this freaking mad rush to push out as many games as fast as they can, you know? That's my hot take there. Because, I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 have been in development for, like, a long time. Like, Xenoblade Chronicles isn't one of those game series where you have, like, freaking an annual release, like, freaking every year for some other thingamabob. Xenoblade Chronicles is we've been getting, like, 1 game per console for the past several generations. Like, if you're not including the remaster of Xenoblade, the original Xenoblade, which I quite enjoyed. I quite enjoyed that game. It's not perfect, but it's not a perfect remaster, but I quite enjoyed it. And I mean, there's also a lot of Monolith stuff that are working on titles like the original Breath of the Wild or Breath of the Wild 2. Like, I believe that Monolith Soft was a staff of about 100 total. And for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they had about half of their developers working on Breath of the Wild and half of their developers working on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But, like, in both of those cases, and I assume that there's, like, probably several at Monolith Soft that are working on the sequel to Breath of the Wild right now. But it, like, really, really shows the freaking, you know, world that they're able to craft here with this kind of thing. Whereas you look at something like Pokemon, and it's like, okay, thanks for the GameCube game. Or 3DS game, or whatever the hell it looks like. Like, the Switch is absolutely more than capable of, absolutely stellar looking games. But I get a lot of comments on my Pokemon video essay of like, they're trying their best. Can you make a game like this? How would you be one to judge? They're making the best thing that they can, and I'm like, are they really making the best thing they can? Are you sure about that? How dare you give constructive criticism to my 40 trillion peso franchise of children's video games? I'm gonna write a YouTube comment calling you smelly. I've had some people call me like some awful things. I have there's an interesting tab that you can go to on the thing seeing your comments and whatnot. There's a very interesting, where's comments? Here it is. There's a very interesting thing that you can go to called Held for Review. And I get some, I received some very interesting, why is K held for review? But some ones that have, oh yeah, show the hidden ones. I received some very interesting things. This has already been updated in the pinned comment for like, you know, about like a week after this video came out. But I guess some people don't, read. Or something. So, I received some, very interesting things. You know. You people. You know. Is it such a bad thing to have criticisms for a product that a company is trying to sell you? Apparently that's not allowed. Apparently not. I receive some very interesting things sometimes, to say the least. I do receive some, interesting things. Okay, oops, you got banned. Yeah, sometimes I see things in there that, like, shouldn't be in there, and I don't know why they're there. But sometimes I do receive plenty of things that are literally just freaking children trying to use big words and, do stuffs, I guess. But yeah, less people working, less people disagreeing, I guess. What with, like, whole COVID lockdown stuff, thingamabobs. Ask if you could make a better game in a year, and you'll answer that. Yeah, I had somebody ask me before in one of the comments if I'm capable of making a game. I have made a game before. You have to, like, do digging on my channel to find it anymore, because, like, I used to have it as part of my playthroughs list. I don't have it as part of the regular thing anymore. But I have freaking developed a game in university before, was the thing. And I usually don't share it out a whole lot because I'm not exactly very proud of how it turned out at the end of the day, and there are like some internal kind of disagreements in the development process and whatnot. But the engine that we wound up using for this game was RPG Maker, because it was a class that brought in people from like all different faculties, like Faculty of Arts, Faculty of Writing, Faculty of Music. So each team was supposed to have 3 programmers, 1 artist, 1 story writer, and 1 composer. Our group only had 2 developers. I was one of 2 developers on the game. But the reason why we use RPG Maker is because everybody comes from like so diverse faculties. We were supposed to use an engine that even those that didn't have like a background in programming could get into. So it was like a system that's simple enough. This was RPG Maker MV is what this was. And this is a game that like you can't find because I don't share it around. Because I don't want to share it around, quite frankly. I think that technically it can be found on like my university site thing, but as long as I don't share my university, nobody can ever find it. Exactly as it should be. But technically through this, it was kind of, you can call it simple game development if you want to. Like, we had to make it in 3 months, so it was very much a very rushed process, to say the least, because it was just within a university semester. but I had somebody freaking ask me before, like, oh, can you make a game then? And I was like, yeah, actually I can. In fact, I have. I have indeed made a game as part of a team of 6. A game that had some very troubled development, and that's part of the reason why I don't want anybody ever finding it, and part of the reason why you can't find the playlist for this game anymore, and the only way that you can freaking find it on my channel anymore is if you actually know what it's called and freaking search it up on my channel. Otherwise, you're not finding it. As it should be. But yeah, then a bit of messing around in SRPGs due to yourself. It definitely seemed like an intriguing thing going on here. We were told in this class that to get full marks, you needed to make something that wasn't an RPG. And nobody in the entire class made an RPG. Things got very complicated very fast. The development process of this game was a nightmare. Let me tell you right now, it was a bit of a nightmare. But I do know some of the pain of, like, developing the pain of developing a game in an engine that was never meant to have this kind of game made in it. The worst kind of pain of game development, I guess. But yeah, I should be forced to rush art. A video game is art. Yeah, but it was just like the one semester, so like we had to do a rush kind of thing. To be fair, it didn't need to be a super long game. All our games in the class were supposed to be like 20 to 30 minute games. And that's what our game was, is it was a short kind of narrative thingamabob with a narrative that really missed its mark by a long shot, in my opinion. But yeah, they weren't like just particularly long games. They were just meant to be like short kind of things. But whether it be a thing for our class being rushed or a freaking the world's largest grossing media IP being rushed, it'll reflect in the final product, you know? It'll most certainly reflect in the final product when you wind up rushing things. But there's a lot of people that treat, you know, any criticism towards a franchise as just like, you're not a real fan, you're not appreciative of all the hard work that they're putting in. I've had people comment on like what I've said about Pokemon Home, and they'd be like, oh, be grateful that you can transfer your Pokemon at all. Be grateful that Pokemon Home is a service at all. I'm like, yep, I sure am grateful. I have like the privilege of paying $25 Canadian a year for freaking glorified ransomware. But that's me. Mystery Dungeon DX and Breath of the Wild is a masterpiece. I don't think I'd say Mystery Dungeon DX is a masterpiece. I did generally really enjoy it. I literally have a 3-part video essay series on Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Fun fact, this thumbnail for part 1 of Rescue Team DX versus Xenoblade Definitive Edition, this thumbnail right here was commissioned by one of the artists from this group here developing this game. One of the main artists that was behind like making the art for this game. I believe it was the other artist that did like most of the sprite work, so I don't think this was done by her. I think one of our artists did like most of the sprite work, and the other artist that did like a bunch of actual overlay kind of cutscene looking stuff and dedicated designs was the one that did this thumbnail here. So fun fact about that. And Sword and Shield are on the same level as Squidward's Bold and but I'm pretty sure it's Bold and Brass. It was between a true fan and a blind fan. Yeah, I can agree with that. There's been a lot of people that commented on this, like, it's not that it lost its magic, it's that you lost your passion. And I look at that, I'm like, I never lost my passion. I wouldn't make this video if I wasn't passionate, you know? Like, the only reason I made that video in the first place was because it's something that I was, like, hella passionate about. But I'd say Breath of the... I literally, when it comes to saying Breath of the Wild is a masterpiece, I literally have a 3-hour video titled Breath of the Wild is not a masterpiece. The gameplay of it, I'd say, is pretty close to a masterpiece, honestly. If you were talking, like, just about the gameplay, I'd say that the gameplay is probably pretty close to a masterpiece. It's very, very intriguing with the things that it does. Story and music, absolutely not. Story and music, absolutely not, though. Also, is it crazy that this reached freaking 500,000 views? And Rescue Team DX could have been done much better. Basically, the kind of complaints that I had and the big things that I brought up about Rescue Team DX in this 3-part video series was that basically almost every problem that I had with the original Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team was fixed, which was fantastic. basically every problem that I had with the originals was fixed. Almost. Not all of them, but like almost every problem I had with the originals was fixed. But it introduced new stuff that had problems of its own. Like the system of freaking DX gummies, for example, and rare qualities. I really wish that as you unlocked more rare qualities, it went into like a pool of like ones that you had available, like IQ skills, and before you went into a dungeon, you could like choose which one you want to have equipped going into that dungeon. Instead of being like, oh, you unlocked a new rare quality, guess you have to choose between this one and your current one, the other one you have to scrap, and there's like 34 rare qualities, and if you already have one equipped, then you can get like one of 33 when you get a new one. So freaking every time you get a new rare quality, it's going to be a 3% chance of being the one that you want. And the more and more you do it, it's not going to increase your odds of getting the one you want. It's still just going to be 3%. And if you have the choice between your really good one right now or a really good other one, you better make a decision that's going to have like very, very long-term effects, because if you want that other one back again, get ready to like spam a 3% chance over and over again with freaking valuable resources. So that sucks. Breath of the Wild's graphics are what's a masterpiece? I could say that. Story's comparable to the one you make up with a bunch of friends. Breath of the Wild had some very interesting things going with its story. I think that if the story of 100 years ago was the story in the here and now of Breath of the Wild, that it could have been a really, really good story. I'm going to put on some tunes. We're going to chat here for a little bit. Let's put on like some chill tunes. Here's some Puzzle Plant Galaxy by Camex. We're just going to go through like the DBD stream playlist. I think that if Breath of the Wild's like 100-year ago story was the story that you experience in the here and now, like that was the plot of the game itself that you were playing, and as such it was like flushed out to actually have like character development with like the champions and whatnot and be properly fleshed out and whatnot, I honestly think that Breath of the Wild could have been a fantastic story. But because it didn't do that and wound up being like, oh, let's just make this like actually intriguing kind of plot be something that already happened, and you just get to see like these little couple-minute flashbacks from time to time of like chapter synopses rather than getting to experience the story, it really misses its mark. The story that actually takes place in the present of Breath of the Wild is wake up Link, go fuck up Ganon. And that's basically the plot in the here and now of Breath of the Wild. But if the plot was actually like the thing happening, like if the 100 years ago plot was the thing happening in there here and now, it could have been really good. It could have been. And that's part of the reason that in a, when it came to my opinions on Age of Calamity, I actually quite enjoyed the plot there. I appreciate the follow there, by the way. Koi Pepe? Vito Koi Pepe, something like that. I'm not 100% sure how it's pronounced. I'm probably completely butchering it. But anyway, when it came to Age of Calamity, I feel like the plot of that game was something that I generally, like, it wasn't perfect. It definitely wasn't a perfect plot, Age of Calamity's thing, but I generally really enjoyed it for a lot of the same reasons that Breath of the Wild's plot could have been good. Because, you know, it actually was a thing with a plot taking place in the here and now, unlike Breath of the Wild's. Oh, the story already happened. You get to have, like, an adventure without any story happening anymore, basically. The fact that you can charge right to the final boss with no context of what's going on is where it fails the most, Breath of the Wild is. But that's also, like, it's a weird kind of mixed bag, because that's also, like, one of the best aspects gameplay-wise. So, like, it destroys the story, but at the same time, like, it makes a very, very intriguing system of gameplay. Like, I've played very few games out there, I might not have played any other games out there, where there's, like, the kind of 1 hour tutorial at the beginning that gives you all your powers throughout, like, the whole thingamabob, and it's just like, here's the world, go do whatever the hell you want. So I think that that's really intriguing. And it's made, like, one of the most intriguing gameplay-wise games I've ever played in my life before. Quite frankly. Can I go back to the... While we're rambling, can I go back to the, what's going on with the treehouse right now? Oh, it looks like they're showing Mario Party stuff at the moment. But yeah, speak Spanish, and you're the translator, can ask if you can say things in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I took 3 years of beginner Spanish in high school, and I've completely forgotten everything. This is distracting. Get it out of here. I don't like that. That is very distracting. I don't want to see that. But yeah, anyway, And Lancer, and then there's some rare qualities that are blatantly better, whom deal 10 more damage with thrown items or never miss with the absolutely broken multi-hit moves. Which one should I use? Freaking Rapid Fire Flurry is literally one of, if not the most busted skill in Rescue Team DX. It's nutty. If there is an Explorer's DX and rare qualities come back, I really hope that they, like, go into an equipable menu where you can choose to equip, like, one of your rare qualities available on that Pokemon before going into a dungeon. So it's like, if I roll a rare quality that I don't want, at least now I know that I'm never going to roll that rare quality again. And if by chance I ever did want to use it, I can now, like, you know, slap it on at any time. Like, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. We can just, like, full screen this while we're rambling and whatnot. Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it would have been cooler if Link wakes up in Breath of the Wild with no guidance or context and gaining that context throughout the main storyline. I feel like that's what they went for, though, but, like, did it in a weird way. I feel like that's generally what they tried to go for, is, like, have almost no context. I mean, there was I guess a lot is explained with, like, the Great Plateau and whatnot at the end with freaking King Rome and whatnot. But I feel like they wanted to go for, yeah, let's have you wake up with no context and figure out what you gotta do. But then they kind of maybe lost sight of that, and things, might have been a bit strange, I guess, if that makes sense. I feel like that was the intention, but maybe it didn't turn out like that at the end. That's what it feels like. That's definitely what it feels like, at least. So I do very much hope that, you know, with the sequel to Breath of the Wild, with Breath of the Wild 2, that, you know, now there's an excuse to actually have a story in the here and now. And, you know, Legend of Zelda plots have never been, like, absolute masterpieces of plots that are gonna, like, rival the craziest JRPGs or anything like that. But a lot of the Zelda games I've played have generally been, like, pretty good, enjoyable plots. Like, not masterpieces, but good. But still good and enjoyable and, like, purdish nice and stuff, you know? So I do really hope that with the Breath of the Wild sequel, I thought they might reveal a title today, but I guess they're not revealing the title of it yet. Because nothing changed. But yeah, I do hope that they can, you know, actually have a story. You're wrong, Rosalina's in this game. Do you predict that she wasn't? I'm freaking hyped for freaking Rabid Rosalina in Mario plus Rabid Sparks of Hope, because Rabid Rosalina, as I saw in the trailer, is literally like the definition of a moody teen. Mario being like, oh, come on, let's go, and Rabid Rosalina is just like, ugh, freaking slam the storybook, throw it to the side, and like slump out of the chair. And it's like, I feel that, you know? Yeah, Legend of Zelda games don't rival amazing story games like Pokemon Sword and Shield. Oh, don't get me started on the amazing plot of Pokemon Sword and Shield. I mean, to be fair, when it comes to Pokemon, main series Pokemon games have never, like, particularly been known for, like, their incredible plots, apart from, like, you know, Pokemon Black and White, where I get the freaking name Harmonia from and, like, the hat from and whatnot. But I think it would be really cool if main series Pokemon games did have, like, actual plots, like actual good plots, but I don't know if that day will ever come. With freaking Sword and Shield, it was a weird situation because you can tell where they, like, had something going with the story, like they had some ideas in mind and had some stuff going there, but when it came to actually putting it into practice, it was like, what the hell is this? So it was a kind of weird situation like that, where, you know, there was clearly stuff going on in, like, the plot and lore, but it was executed in such a weird way and explained so strangely that it just didn't make sense. It was weird. It was rather odd. But yeah, Lance, like, in your head, the way you imagine is he wakes up, no memories, and as you go through the main quest, he gains more and more of his memories instead of the memories being a side quest. I mean, in general, that might not also be, like, the best situation for, like, plots, because, again, you don't actually get to experience a plot in the here and now of Breath of the Wild. I feel like Breath of the Wild's story would have been much more enjoyable if there was actually a plot happening in the present. I know that's very difficult to craft with an open world kind of game like that, so maybe it was just, like, a doomed formula that could never work out, having a game that is completely not linear at all and be able to tell a linear story. I mean, all stories are linear, basically, but playable flashbacks. Oh, playable flashbacks sound cool. I like that idea. That'd be cool if they did playable flashbacks. Then you actually do get to experience it in a way, rather than just being told about it. You actually do still, as the player, get to like drive the plot forward in a way. That'd be cool. But yeah, Pokemon stories are so amazing, and they just know it. So that's why they don't let you skip them. That's why you don't get to skip that. Doesn't Sun and Moon get a good story as well? Just doesn't provide gameplay with it. I feel like Sun and Moon was another case where it's like they had some stuff going for the story, but like it wasn't fleshed out properly and kind of missed its mark and was kind of weird and stuff. Like they had some things going, but it was odd. Like for example, take Gladion with Team Skull. Freaking, if I recall, Gladion's story was like, oh, his freaking mother was a psycho bitch, so he decided to go out and like go do his own thing. And he started working for Team Skull, the team that literally works for his mother that he joined to get away from his mother. And why? It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, there's so many cases like that in freaking Pokemon games where it's like, did they put 2 and 2 together and like realize what was going on here? It's so weird. See you later, Birdo. And like, I never understood like freaking Luzamine's weird obsession that she had with Pokemon that wound up in her like doing the stuff that she did. Like she was a psycho bitch, but it was never really explained why she was a psycho bitch. It was just like, yep, she's a psycho bitch for the sake of being a psycho bitch. So I feel like there's a lot of like plot points in a lot of main series Pokemon games that are just there for the sake of being there and not having any reason for being there apart from how else are we gonna have a plot, essentially. Like freaking, we recently played Pokemon Platinum on the channel, for example. Take the plot of the Generation 4 games, for example, with see you later, Peach. With freaking Cyrus and Team Galactic, they're like, yep, this world freaking sucks. Let's make a better one because of reasons. And it's dumb. It's dumb. Some of them could just be cutscenes, but others, like the flashback where Link screws up an army of monsters, could be playable. That'd be pretty hype. I am pretty glad for, honestly, Age of Calamity. I was a little bit worried about it when it was first releasing because of my mixed feelings of Breath of the Wild, but I honestly really enjoyed Age of Calamity. And I'll have a video essay on it releasing in a few days on my favorite and least favorite parts of the game, leitmotifs, and how it handles player progression. I feel like it could have been much better, though. The soundtrack of Age of Calamity is so dang good. One of my favorite soundtracks on the Switch. The gameplay is hella fun, but the way that it handles player progression freaking sucks, and that's part of what the video essay that I'm releasing in a few days is going to be on, is how the player progression in that game freaking sucks, because it's not quantifiable. Like, it doesn't have meaningful rewards with quantifiable progress. So there's that. Nihilego poisoned her mind. Was that the thing going on there? Was like, before the events of the game, she came into contact with a Nihilego, and that freaking made her a psycho bitch? Is that what's going on there? And Team Skull were probably hired by Luzamine, and that caused Gladion to betray Team Skull. That, or he was secretly working with the Skuntank to destroy the greater Team Skull from the inside. The superior original Team Skull and whatnot. But yeah. But yeah, there's that kind of whole situation there. All in all, when it came to this direct, like all the things that were announced here that I'm behind, at least. Behind me not right away, but what happens in the story. So was Team Skull like not working for Luzamine from the get-go? It was only like sometime later that they took a job for Luzamine? Because if so, that wasn't something clear enough, because I mean, since when are Pokemon plots ever clear, I guess? The Metroid 5 thing was pretty intriguing. We'll definitely be playing this Mario Party game going on here when it comes out. We'll definitely be covering that on the channel. And if it's gonna have online multiplayer from the get-go, then, you know, that's something that I could potentially hop into with some streamer friends and, like, get some multiplayer stuff going with. Because I've wanted to do, like, more multiplayer playthroughs of things going on this channel for a good while, and that could be, like, a good opportunity to do so. I've thought about, because they added, however many months ago, finally, online boards to, Super Mario Party, I've thought about potentially hopping into that with some friends at some point. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it'll still happen. It might happen with you charge the 300%. That's how that works. I've thought about, maybe we'll hop into it for like a Creators Collide episode once I start getting that series underway. I've been planning on getting that series underway for a while. I've started recording some of them. I've started recording some new episodes of Creators Collide, which is the series I was planning where it's like each episode would be some games with a fellow content creator while talking about what kind of content they make, inspirations they've had, and their content creation journey and all that stuff. So we've started recording some episodes here and there. Maybe one person that we play it with will be interested in doing some Super Mario Party with me. Hello, Cam. Just chatting your favorite Mario Party game? This is the Treehouse, and we're basically like just chatting here anyway. This is the thing. This is the freaking newly announced Mario Party game that's like a weird mishmash of classic Mario Party things. How are you doing today, Cam? What do you think of the Direct? The new WarioWare thing is pretty interesting. Like, we'll definitely hop into the new WarioWare when that releases. I'm probably gonna have to write down the release dates for these various things. I'll do that like sometime after the stream to get it sorted out in my mind. Don't know anything about Shin Megami Tensei and all this stuff going on here. I'm definitely hyped for the Mario plus Rabbids sequel. Haven't seen any of it, so you're just gonna watch the VOD? You can watch the VOD of this streaming us losing our minds and whatnot. It was basically a Lost Standard stuff. A lot of people are saying that it was disappointing. There wasn't too much that was like super surprising. It was a lot of like stuff that people were expecting anyway. That's what you're doing. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, so that's the thing where Bob there. WarioWare doesn't have the feature to dub over cutscenes like in Gold, then you're not interesting? Wait, are cutscenes not like dubbed over by default? That not like a default kind of thing there? But yeah, on the topic of Mario and Rabbids, like I was mentioning before, I am very, very tempted to hop into the original Mario plus Rabbids right now, because we're gonna have to at some point before the sequel comes out. But there's a bunch of other games going on, and we're gonna be starting a playthrough of Dark Deity later today, most likely anyway. So this probably is not the best day to start something like that. I'm very, very tempted to, but like logically, it's probably not a good play to start it today. But yeah, hello, Paul. WarioWare and Advance Wars surprise? Yeah, I was very surprised by that as well. I've never actually played an Advance Wars game before. I've heard good things about it. I don't know if I like the art style that they were going for there. It looked very toy-like and plasticky, which I guess was, you know, the intended art style. But I don't know if that kind of art style is for me, you know. But what do you think of the Direct overall, Paul? Someone tells you they won't put the effort into this Mario Party of remaking the costumes from 2. I haven't played basically any really of the super classic Mario Party games before, so I don't know a whole lot about that. They are, but the player has the option to dub them themselves, and it's an unending meme fest. Oh, as I'm replaying Mario plus Rabbids today. Mario plus Rabbids is such a good game. If I didn't have like a bazillion other playthroughs going on right now, I would totally hop into it right now. If I had like more space in my stream schedule, I would absolutely hop into it right now. But we have 3 games ongoing right now. 4 if you count Platinum that's on hold. 5 if you count New Pokemon Snap that I've been, or 6 if you, wait, I don't remember what my counts is anymore. But another one if you count freaking New Pokemon Snap that I've been meaning to do another stream of here one of these days. But at this point, maybe I won't. Maybe I should just have New Pokemon Snap be wrapped up. And we're also going to be starting Dark Deity today. So, like, you know, that's going to be a new playthrough going on. From what I hear, that game is probably not going to be, like, super long. Like, when I was talking to the developer, it sounded like the kind of idea with that game was to have a game that's, like, very replayable, rather than have a game that's, like, super duper long, like something like 3 Houses was. Like, 3 Houses also tried to be replayable, while also being, like, super duper long and tedious, and that's part of the reason that I wasn't the biggest fan of 3 Houses. I feel it kind of missed its mark on that front. So, at least when it comes to that game, it sounds like it shouldn't be, like, super duper long. Like, I don't know exactly how long to anticipate with that, but we shall see. Thought the Direct was pretty okay. Yeah, I thought it was pretty okay as well. It doesn't look very, I assume that's supposed to say, yeah, very good IMO, but glad they acknowledge Advance Wars. Yeah, and that's probably going to make a lot of people happy there, which is pretty intriguing. Mario plus Rabbids feels like it should be bad, but isn't. Mario plus Rabbids feels like it should be like a cheap, quickly done crossover for a quick buck. That's an easy 5.5 out of 10. But instead, Ubisoft, which has been, you know, relatively famous for approaching mediocrity with a lot of their games in recent years and maybe making a bit of a mixed bags of products a lot of the time, Ubisoft was like, okay, we know that we make a lot of mediocre stuff lately, but we really need to freaking get our shit together because this is probably going to be the only time we ever get to make a Mario game. And what did they do? They actually absolutely got their shit together, and they made a really, really good game. That is probably one of my favorite games on the Switch. Like, it's hella good. And apparently they did so well with it, like, impressed Nintendo so much with it, that they got to make a sequel, which I was very surprised for. I was very surprised about hearing that, because I thought for sure that would be like a one-off kind of thing. But to hear that, you know, they did well enough with that to incite a sequel makes me very, very excited. But yeah, if we got Rabid Rosalina, that should hopefully mean real Rosalina. Yeah, that should probably mean that. And I kind of read the comment underneath that of it shouldn't be as good as it is because it's Rabbids. Yeah, and Rabbids was a series that was also famous for like being pretty meh for a long time. Like, it started out with freaking Rayman Raving Rabbids on the Wii, which I have on my shelf over there, by the way. I have both of those, both of them games, both 1 and 2. And then from there, they were like, yeah, let's just make Rabbids do its own thing. And they made like a bunch of games of like mini games and freaking weird stuff that I never knew a whole lot about. And freaking Rabbids games are pretty famous for just being like kind of meh and like, okay, that's a freaking quick thing put out there to make a quick buck. But like, you know, there were a lot of signs that said the original Mario plus Rabbids was probably not going to be the best thing. Like freaking Ubisoft behind the helm that had been, you know, not exactly, you know, the most out there kind of example of making the most revolutionary games nowadays. Freaking Rabbids, which for a long time had been just like kind of average games to like make a quick buck to like a very young player base. And then, you know, freaking an unlikely crossover that seemed like it'd just be the kind of thing that'd be thrown together to make a quick buck. And that'd be it, and it'd be like a one-off kind of thing. But no, they freaking got their shit together, and they actually made a hella good thing. And I freaking adore that game. I love Mario plus Rabbids, and I can't wait for the sequel. So, what is this mini game here? My goodness. So, I'm hyped for Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I'm hyped for it myself. But there's that. 3 Houses being 70 hours long while also requiring 4 playthroughs for the full experience is not okay. It really isn't. Like, I feel like the stance that they had with 3 Houses was the stance that I had with, like, some of my video essays, like my Dead by Daylight video essay. With my Dead by Daylight video essay, like, I had my main arguments as, like, the first kind of bit. My main arguments in my Dead by Daylight video essay was on feedback loops and how Dead by Daylight handles those. And then, like, I have a whole bunch of lesser arguments with, like, the coming chapters, but those weren't, like, my main arguments. They aren't as fleshed out, and they can still be, like, entertaining topics to get into. But when I was watching back my freaking video essay on that subject, I was like, okay, these definitely feel like substantially weaker arguments than, like, my core main arguments. But, like, I put the effort in already, so I may as well freaking, you know, publish it like that, since, you know, I put in the effort. Like, somebody can easily just, you know, just watch, like, the core arguments and then click off the video. Anyway, I figure I already put in the effort to, like, flushing out this, like, hour-long video. May as well publish it like that, because I already put in the work, and, like, next time, maybe I can focus on, like, a shorter video essay that just focuses on my main arguments rather than everything I have to say. I feel like that was kind of like what went on with 3 Houses, where it's like they had a vision of what they wanted. That was, like, some grand thing, but then as it went on, it became evident where it's like, okay, maybe this wasn't as good as we envisioned, but like we already worked our asses off on making our current thing over the course of like years in the case of a game like 3 Houses. So it's like, may as well publish this already. Like, may as well publish it the way that it is and like maybe change our ways for next time. Like, that's the way that it was for me with my Dead by Daylight video essay, and that's kind of how I feel like 3 Houses might have been, where it's like, from the get-go, it's like, okay, we have this grand idea, this grand scheme, it's gonna turn out great, it's gonna be wonderful, but then you put it into practice, and it's maybe not the, best thing, but it's like, okay, the effort is done to make this now anyway. Let's just ship out the game where you need to do a 70-hour JRPG 4 times to get the full story. Like, when I was talking with the developer of Dark Deity, one of the things that I mentioned about 3 Houses was, I have one of, if not the longest 3 Houses series on YouTube, at 176 episodes, averaging an hour each, and I still haven't done all the routes. I still don't have the full story. After all that, after a nearly 300 episode series of an hour each, and I'm pretty sure when I I don't remember if in the video that's being published later today on that, if the cameras were on during that, or if I had Three Houses footage over it. But I remember his face, like, reacting to me telling him that was just like, like, super surprised, like, whoa, like, just, yikes, that kind of thing. I won't forget that face. But yeah, Lance, you like long games, but even you have your limits. Yeah. Maybe one of these days, I'll wind up doing, like, the final route of Three Houses. Just so that I can have, like, a playthrough that's, like, the whole thing. But my goodness, that game. Oh, that hurts me inside, Three Houses. Three Houses is such a good game, but such a tedious game. And so poorly implemented with its replayability in so many ways, but there's that. But yeah, Reggie, why is it the ones we don't have high hopes for are extremely good? What, with the Mario plus Rabbids situation? Yeah, we get these freaking titles that everybody's anticipating to be like the next big incredible thing. And then you have something like Mario plus Rabbids where it's like, wow, this is gonna be like a shovelware freaking awful thing. And then you play it and it's like, wow, this game is awesome. It's freaking whack. What does the world come to? But yeah, I do like there not being a new Fire Emblem game announced because it would be rushed if it came out soon. It probably would be. The Three Houses engine isn't very well optimized, so you prefer if they made a new one, which should take a good amount of time. Yeah, the engine in Three Houses, it definitely had frame rate issues. It definitely had the general gameplay premise that they had with like the whole assets and flaws and the routes and yada yada. Three Houses had a lot of aspects where it gives like the illusion of choice, but then is like, yeah, there's basically no choice here. Like, either you make the right choice or you get royally screwed. So is there really any choice? So the choices in Three Houses don't really matter a whole lot. But yeah, let's just see here. The calendar was a terrible mistake and made by the Three Houses devs. It was a really intriguing idea. But like the intention of the calendar system, I feel like the calendar, I've never played a Persona game, but I feel like the intention of the calendar system was to have a Persona like kind of system where it's like, okay, the days are going by, you're doing different things on different days, seeing time passing and just having a nice chill time. But instead, what that does in the context of like Fire Emblem is makes it so that like you've got like these limited time slots, but they're like very, very abundantly limited. So you wind up doing the same things over and over and over again for so many hours because it's like the time slots are limited, so you don't want to waste a time slot because they're limited. You miss a time slot and you're never getting that back, so why would you not make full use of it? But if you make use of all your limited time slots that are so insanely abundant that you're spending 3,000 years between story chapters. I was literally spending anywhere between 5 to 7 hours between like story chapters during my Blue Lions and part of my Golden Deer playthrough. It was ridiculous. So I feel like the intention of the calendar system was to like have a nice chill time where you're like doing different things on different days and like seeing time pass and yada yada. But what that wound up resulting in was just a freaking system where you feel incentivized to, you know, make full use of your time slots as you can, but you know, freaking wind up having a miserable experience because of it. Let's just see here. Let's just see. If you were to talk about Mario plus Rabbids' art, it'd be a great thing drawn by Toothbrush, in other words, a great game that should have failed. Yeah, it seems like a game that you wouldn't expect to be good at all, but is unironically actually a really good game. I really like Mario plus Rabbids. Also, Nintendo not having an achievement/trophy system also doesn't give the player much motivation. I mean, with Echoes there was an achievement system, and I freaking was not the biggest fan of that there, mostly because Echoes used a lot of its stats directly from the original Gaiden. So there were achievements for things like get all 3 of these weapons in this set when they have drop rates of like 0.05%. And it's you know, freaking painful, you know, absolutely painful to get that. I tried to 100% Echoes. I was somebody crazy enough to actually get a team of 10 party members that had like perfected stats, and that involved a lot of resetting for resistance growth rates. Anybody that knows Gaiden or Echoes knows the resistance growth rates are like either non-existent or really, really suck in that game. And I took so many tens of hours. I probably have over 100 hours in my freaking Echoes playthrough. Actually, maybe it's not 100, but it's pretty darn close. Just to have, like, my perfect team of 10 to go through dungeons and grind for those achievements. And I gave up. After I took the time doing my perfect team of 10, I literally gave up. After however many hours of going through the final dungeons trying to get these items to drop, just because they had, like, ridiculous drop rates, like 0.05%, because the developers thought it'd be a cool idea to keep, like, as much stats from the original Gaiden as possible. Whether that be resistance growth rates that are a massive pain in the ass, or freaking item drop rates that make 100% in the game, and RNG hell that nobody can potentially at all find fun out of, and I hated it. That's my biggest, like, gripes with Echoes and stuff. So, like, Echoes had some interesting things going on there with its achievement system, but, like, just due to the nature of, like, Echoes taking so much from Gaiden, the achievements in that game wound up being miserable. But yeah, and let's just see here. Disagree that not having achievement doesn't give the player motivation. If the game is good, enjoying it should be the only motivation you need. I mean, it also depends on, like, how the game handles player progression. How does it quantify your progress? There's literally a video essay that I'm publishing on this, like, 3 days from now, when Age of Calamity's DLC releases. Like, hold on. I uploaded it earlier today, a draft kind of version of it. Like, there we go. Freaking Age of Calamity, the Leitmotifs and Progression Essay version 2. So I'm gonna have to, like, update all my stuff here with, the stuff that I have planned out for that. But in this video essay, the biggest kind of criticism that I bring up with, this is a video essay basically about saying my favorite and least favorite parts of the game. My favorite is the soundtrack and the way that it handles leitmotifs, because my goodness, it's freaking incredible. My least favorite part is the way that it handles player progression. And my main arguments that I make in this is that in something like the original Hyrule Warriors, you have very much worthwhile rewards and quantifiable progress. Like, to incentivize your player to continue playing, that's absolutely something that you need to have. Like, if we have it here, yeah, worthwhile content, and then quantifiable progress is the other thing. What that means is worthwhile content is basically, like, there's still worthwhile stuff to earn, whether that be achievements, or leveling up for more stats, or getting some new items is different from game to game. But there has to be, like, something that's worthwhile to go for. And the second part of that is your progress towards that needs to be quantifiable. Like, you need to understand how you're making progress towards the things that you want to earn. And in something like the original Hyrule Warriors, you absolutely had worthwhile content and quantifiable progress. Your worthwhile content was freaking weapons, item cards, costumes, freaking characters, my fairy items and food. More, whatever, there was freaking stuff of the yin yang all over the map, all over the adventure maps of the original Hyrule Warriors, so that would help make a freaking repetitive game, like, feel like you're making, like, good progress still. And does it have quantifiable progress? Absolutely. The entire map is literally like the freaking definition of quantifiable progress. You freaking do a tile and you'll unlock the tiles adjacent to it as long as there's, like, no wall here. So if I completed this map, I would unlock this map. So, like, Hyrule Warriors is the original Hyrule Warriors is one of the best games in my opinion in terms of quantifiable progress, because let's say I want this item over here, and I can literally start making my way down this path and see exactly my progress towards getting the thing that I want. Like, it is so clear with the information that it gives you that it can make such an incredibly repetitive game like Hyrule Warriors still feel incredibly satisfying, because you've got rewards of the yin yang all over the place, and your progress towards that is so clearly visually quantifiable that, you know exactly what progress you're making towards that. But in something like Age of Calamity, it's just kind of like, come on, load my freaking thing. In something like Age of Calamity, you've just kind of got a map with stuff all over the place, and you don't really know, like, what's going to help you in what way. Like, the stuff that you would work towards for certain characters are like side quests that you do around the map. So instead of do a mission to unlock this for this character, it's now either you'll get the materials by default while, like, doing stuff in general, or you gotta grind for it, which is the most fun kind of thing. And in the original Hyrule Warriors, if you want to get to go do, like, some map, then you can clearly see on the map what maps you need to do first to get to that. And freaking Age of Calamity, if you want to do some specific map that, first of all, you're probably not going to be able to see it like on the overworld yet, and you don't know what you can do to get it to spawn. Like if you go do like any other like side battle or something, then sometimes it'll unlock a new map, sometimes it'll unlock some new side quests, sometimes it'll do nothing and just get marked as blue. And there's literally no way to know about there being anything different unless you Google it. Like there's literally no quantifiable progress. Every time you do a map, it's like a freaking roulette wheel of what's going to happen. Is it going to unlock some new maps? Is it going to do nothing? Who knows? So the entire system of progression in Age of Calamity, doesn't have anywhere near as many worthwhile rewards. It doesn't have anywhere near as much worthwhile content as the original game. And that worthwhile content you're not even going to know about unless you Google it, unlike the original Hyrule Wars where you can clearly see, oh, there's a character on that tile that I can unlock. Like, you can clearly see it. Unlike this game where freaking, you have to Google it or you're not going to know about it. Like, you could stumble upon it through random gameplay. But if there isn't worthwhile content and quantifiable progress, why would you get to that point? So you have a system where it's like, you could keep trying to like do maps and stuff and see what happens, but most of the time, nothing's gonna happen. So like, there isn't that same satisfaction of making progress like there was in the original Hyrule Warriors. So when it comes to the mention of if the game is good, enjoying it should be the only motivation you need, I would argue that the gameplay of Age of Calamity is absolutely like really good. It's a really it's a very fleshed out gameplay system that was very, very satisfying and fun. But if a game doesn't have worthwhile content to work up to, whether that be achievements, unlockables, items, characters, anything really, if it doesn't have worthwhile content and a clear way that it quantifies how you're making progress towards the thing that you want, then no matter how fun it is, it's like I have no reason to play it. No matter how fun it is, unless I'm playing it with friends, unless it's a multiplayer game that I'm playing with friends. If it's just a single player game that I feel like I'm doing the same old thing in as I have been doing for 3,000 years, if it doesn't have worthwhile content and quantifiable progress, I don't have any reason to continue playing. And that's why I like stopped my Age of Calamity playthrough instead of 100%ing it like my original plan was when I started playing it. I was just like, yeah, this is so incredibly boring to do side stuff in. Like, it's so insanely repetitive. And the original Hyrule Warriors was insanely repetitive as well. But even though it was repetitive, it had this system that made progress so incredibly satisfying that you could put up with their repetitiveness because it was so satisfying to like make progress with this system that they devised that is so expertly crafted to be so satisfying to the human brain, you know? So that made me really sad to not see something like that in Age of Calamity. Like, I understand why they'd go for, you know, the Breath of the Wild map and whatnot and do this kind of system, but every time you do any battle, it's like, wow, is that going to benefit me in any way apart from marking that as blue on the map and marking that as another mission done? So like, I don't even think I got the chance to play every character in Age of Calamity. When I first started playing it on this channel, I was talking about how, you know, I was thinking about 100% in the game because it was so fun. It's a really fun game. But then as time went on and I realized how freaking unsatisfying its progression was, I just couldn't. So I think that no matter how fun a game is, if you don't have satisfying progression, it freaking ruins the experience. And that's what I found with Age of Calamity. And that's my biggest issue that I have with the game. But yeah, there's that. Let's catch up on some stuff here. Use the warrior engine, which isn't well optimized for a strategy RPG. Could well be. I think achievement hunting has more motivation to a lot of people. For some people, it depends on the kind of progress you want to work towards. I think that what they did was take the best parts of Fates, but the worst parts of Awakening. What, for 3 houses? And the Desert Dragon Paralogue, you remember that? Hell, yep. I'm pretty sure it was either in the same session or back-to-back sessions. My 2 least favorite maps in 3 houses. Freaking, the Sleeping Sand Legend, Claude's Paralogue, and then the battle at Grondor Field. Freaking past Sylvain was a nightmare. Best parts of Phase, you don't think anything close to Conquest map design in 3 houses. I mean, it is also a very different game with its mechanics, with things like freaking gambits and whatnot and stuff. Prefer the way weapons work in Fates instead of how it's done in 3 houses. I prefer the way that they work in Fates over 3 houses, but I prefer the way that they're done in 3 houses over like any other Fire Emblem game with durability. I feel like Fire Emblem 3 Houses was a good example of having weapon durability without it, like, you know, sucking, essentially. Because I freaking hated systems like freaking Awakening, where it's like, oh, this really good weapon, guess you used it up and now it's gone forever. But in 3 houses, you could actually like repair it and such, and it was like, okay, you still get to like keep the thingamabob that you really liked and have put all this effort into you know, flushing out and making into a good forged weapon and all that fun stuff. What I really didn't like the durability of in Three Houses was the Sword of the Creator. Like, freaking, in your store, you've literally got, like, your legendary MacGuffin right here with the Sword of the Creator. And then you just have it be, like, the most flimsy piece of paper durability-wise that makes you want to, like, almost never use it, except if it's an emergency situation. Like, the Sword of the Creator is literally supposed to be freaking Byleth's main sword, the thing that, like, the weapon that defines their character in a way, like the thing that they're famous for. And it becomes a weapon that you only want to use in the most dire of situations and never use any time else. Because they thought that they could just be like, oh, you can just do like a rest action to repair and whatnot by 5. And using rest is a freaking waste of a slot. Didn't we hear this theme earlier? I swear, the shuffle feature on YouTube playlists does not actually shuffle. Like, it just cycles. Like, once you get past about 10, it just cycles like the same 10 again. It's rather silly. But yeah, I don't know why the Sword of the Creator is, the way that it is like that. Let's see here. Where's my mouse cursor? I need to keep on scrolling there. Let's just see here. Resistance doesn't exist in the Echoes universe. The Arcade games have the same thing. Yeah, I really wish they had freaking, you know, changed resistance for Echoes and whatnot. I'm getting emails and stuff, apparently. Thing from my university, it seems like. That I have no idea what's going on there and whatnot. But yeah, let's just see here. Can't we saw everything you saw about now, which is nothing besides the point. Don't really care about Tekken though, so the only thing that you might get is WarioWare. Yeah, WarioWare seems interesting and whatnot. But yeah, ignore what you said about Fates and Awakening. See the error of your ways already. Fates had a good story, more people realize how good of a game it was. Freaking Fates is a weird situation where it's like, it could have absolutely been a masterpiece of a game. Like, Fire Emblem Fates absolutely had the potential to be a masterpiece. But with the way that it was executed, like, there are still a lot of things that are really, really good about Fire Emblem Fates. There are a lot of things still really going for it. But what could have been a masterpiece just wound up becoming like a, I don't know, a weird kind of experience, you know, especially mostly with the story. Like, it doesn't make the entire experience awful. There are, like I said, there's a lot of things going for Fates, but, you know, the story can definitely be an experience ruiner. The gameplay of Fates is really intriguing, especially things like, you know, Conquest, especially things like Conquest Lunatic Classic, that I do look forward to covering on the channel. Like, when I was talking to the director of Dark Deity, and we were talking about Fire Emblem a little bit, he was saying that Fates Conquest was probably his favorite Fire Emblem experience gameplay-wise, and that's something that I would personally have to agree with as well. Like, I do think that the gameplay going in things like Conquest, especially things like Conquest Lunatic Classic, is very intriguing and like a very challenging system without being as freaking bullshit as Awakening Lunatic Plus, which was a really nice change of pace and made a really, really cool gameplay system, quite frankly. I'm really looking forward to covering Conquest Lunatic Classic on this channel one day. But, you know, there's other aspects of it that definitely missed their mark. Fates also had a bit of like trouble development when it came to like localization, as anybody who followed Fates knows. And there was a lot of controversies that went on around Fates and whatnot. But yeah. Also, hello Aaron, how have things been going lately? Never used Byleth's sword, basically. And such as, wait, never give weapons durability is such a stupid concept. Not sure how that got through the QA of the game. Yeah, I do think that things will probably be better without weapon durability myself. I was intrigued by the system in Three Houses. I do think that the durability system where you could like repair weapons and like improve them from there, even when they're broken, that Three Houses had going for it, was very intriguing. If only the Sword of the Creator wasn't a freaking flimsy piece of paper that you wanted to never use because it would freaking break after like 1 or 2. If you freaking use it like as your main weapon, then it'll break after like a battle and a half. It's so dumb. But yeah, Lancer, mean what you're trying to say is Shivas aren't necessary to motivate the player. Progressing through a game can be motivation enough, assuming the game's progression is good. Yeah, assuming the game's progression is good and flushed out. Unlike something like Age of Calamity, which I was planning on posting this video on the day that Age of Calamity's DLC comes out, and we just found out earlier today that's the 18th, so I guess this video is going to be releasing on Friday, in that case. And look, it's an actual short video essay for once. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, music reminds you of Celeste, the one that was going on before, probably because it was a Celeste remix. Probably because what we were listening to a smidge ago was actually a remix of Celeste. I don't remember who the remixer was. Like, if I backtrack, I can tell you. I have to go back here. Yeah, this is a Mirror Temple remix by Noteblock from Celeste. That would be why it reminds you of Celeste, is it's literally a Noteblock Celeste remix. Yeah, I think Fire Emblem is constantly suffering from that. It's just too much work. You analyze Byleth a bit, and your conclusion is that they are good because she is budget efficient as self-insert. What, it's just like an easy way to, you know, make a character in a story that the player can kind of attribute themselves onto by having a generic kind of person that doesn't talk a whole lot. What is probably your second favorite gameplay-wise after New Mystery? I haven't played New Mystery myself. I do plan on hopping into classic Fire Emblem games on this channel, like, eventually, but, you know, we've still got a lot left to go with freaking, Fates, and then Echoes. We still have a decent bit of, like, semi-modern stuff to get through, and I've already covered a lot of Fire Emblem stuff on the channel. My Fire Emblem playlist is at 436 videos, and over that time, I've only covered, like, 3 games. Isn't that crazy to think about? Welcome to Fire Emblem. But yeah, let's just see here. Got in Fire Emblem thanks to Conquest. Hence why you still think it's the best game in the Fire Emblem series in terms of gameplay, or like in terms of like everything in general. I hope not in terms of like story and whatnot. But yeah, it's just too expansive to repair the Sword of the Creator. Just way too expansive. And that's because you do everything. Yeah, I mean, I do, when I cover a playthrough on this channel, I don't like 100% things, but I cover like all of the main stuff that there is to be covered, is the thing. This is a super flat character, and also silent, no voice acting. Well, voice acting in like battle and stuff, but it's also explained why they are that way. And that's something I found really intriguing, because there's a lot of games with silent protagonists that don't like have any story reason for that, apart from just being like a character that you can attribute yourselves to. So I thought that was intriguing, how Three Houses had an actual story reason for it. But yeah, Three Houses was a bit of a mixed bag there. Anyway, hope you're doing well today, Aaron. What do you think of the Nintendo Direct that went on, if you don't mind me asking? Have any particular thoughts about anything going on with that? North Kamuna Forest. Isn't that something? Lead Monster. So was it just Mario Party into this? Yeah, I guess it was just Mario Party into this. I was wondering if there was anything else that I'd missed. I'm not too interested in Monster Hunter myself. Oh, I guess there was the Metroid stuff going on earlier. Don't mind silent protagonist. Your hard drag goes bad after all. Gotcha. Game release have been slacking recently. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag, because it's like, on one hand, it feels very much like, especially with cases like Nintendo, we don't see like as many titles coming out as like times past. But when you see a lot of people asking for more games to come out as soon as possible, you might see freaking situations where games are rushed out. And, you know, so you kind of gotta strike that balance, I guess. I don't know. I kind of miss the days of, like, Nintendo having a bazillion different IPs that were flushed out. Heck, maybe they'll start gradually going back to that. Like, it seems like they are taking the effort to revive Metroid, which I think is really cool. So if they take the time to do it with, like, more IPs, that'd be really, really neat. I do like that they are taking the time to revive Metroid and such. But, you know, back when they had, like, I think a big difference is also the fact that, like, there's just the one console that Nintendo has now, as opposed to, like, home console and handheld, where you had, like, so many different developers, like, whether they were in-house Nintendo or just ones that were, like, being published under Nintendo, making all kinds of different things, like, all across handheld and, you know, home console stuff. But, I mean, even with just, like, one of the home console or handheld, I feel like you used to see like a bunch of different, more diverse kind of stuff, especially in series like, say, Pokemon. Like, I brought that up in my Pokemon video essay, how you used to have like home console games like Stadium or Battle Revolution or Pokepark and all this wacky different stuff. On the DS, you'd have, or on handhelds, you have things like freaking Mystery Dungeon, Dash, Ranger, and like all these different things that like so many different studios are working on. Whereas nowadays, I feel like with a lot of these IPs, you just see like one or two kind of main studios working on some core things and not really as much diversity as there once used to be, if that makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, honestly, you don't know you like Conquest Story when you first played, but didn't feel it with Revelation did by Birthright, so you're not sure about that one. Yeah, you don't expect a whole lot when it comes to Birthright, I'd say. Yeah, that's crazy. Just use Shulk's backslash. Isn't that crazy? Oh, when it comes to like really fleshing out everything about a game, with playthroughs on this channel, we did come really close to 100%ing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on this channel, and I continued to like grind it off camera a little bit after our last episode of that, and I came really close to doing it, and I think I only have a few achievements left, but they're like really annoying achievements, like kill 5,000 enemies, and it shows like no progress tracker, so I have no idea how close I am to that, and it's just like hella annoying, and so I never actually wound up 100% in the game, but I came like really close. But yeah, but Byleth being the way she is not explored. Typically a character that has been a mercenary since birth would have some intriguing psychological depths to work through. Yeah, that would have been really neato. Didn't watch the Nintendo stuff, to be honest. Long-term lent your Switch to a friend, so at the moment I'm not really interested. Gotcha. So not really down for that kind of thing, Bob, right now. But yeah, hope Team Cherry takes their time. I assume that's supposed to say takes their time. Yeah, with Silk Song. Really want that game to be good. That'd be neato. Also, was I about to say something? Oh yeah, Aaron, freaking, want to hop into a video game one of these days? I know like way back you were proposing Factorio. I was recently talking with a cousin of mine who I might potentially hop into some Don't Starve Together with in the near future, and it's kind of made me want to like do some more multiplayer stuff here and there. I mean, if schedule opens up and things, because I'd be down to freaking do some games at some point or something like that. You have that game, Don't Starve Together? Yeah, so I recently had a couple of cousins from the next province over visiting, and one of them was showing us, like, showing us being his sister, my other cousin, and me, Don't Starve Together that he's been getting into recently. And we were talking a bit, and I was mentioning, like, hey, that'd be something fun to hop into together, and we talked about it a little bit. And it seems like it's something that he'd be down for, like, doing a thing together on, maybe a big group kind of thing, Bob, with us, and might well wind up being a series on the channel that we do. There might at some point be a multiplayer playthrough that we do of Don't Starve Together, a game I've never played in my life, with two of my cousins. Might well be a thing, with like me and one of my cousins having no idea what's going on, and the other one like absolutely knowing what's going on, which would probably make for like a fun time. So that might happen on the channel in the near future. I'll keep an eye on Don't Starve Together, because like the Steam summer sales should be coming up pretty soon. So like if it goes on sale, I'll pick it up and like send a text to my cousin like, hey, let's do some gaming. But yeah, totally be down. Also, if Don't Starve Together though, you're really bad, so maybe we'll wind up doing some shenanigans with that game, like on this channel, like in general, with some things here at some point. We shall certainly see. You just constantly die. That sounds like what would probably wind up happening to me. That's probably what would wind up happening to me if I had to guess. But yeah. Fun fact, I still have Fire Emblem Fates open since last night. So there's that. I just kind of leave it open on my computer most of the time. It's like paused and whatnot, so it doesn't like rack up my game hours or use up too much memory in my computer or anything like that. But I just kind of leave it open there a lot of the time. Also, Windows has been trying to update for like 3,000 years, as Windows does, as always. But yeah, I think that's basically everything that we wanted to say about the direct and whatnot. Only buy Steam, only buy Steam games, I assume that's supposed to say, when sales are on. Not made of money, Steam. I mean, there's a whole lot of games out there. There's some pretty good games out there that are always pretty cheap. Like, one of my favorite indie games that is, like, consistently hella cheap is a game called Rakuen that was developed by the person that did the music for Plants vs. Zombies, Laura Shikihara, and is actually, so of course, naturally then has a really nice soundtrack, but it also had, like, a really touching story that was, like, a real tearjerker in a way. I quite like it. I quite like that game. That's like one of my favorite kind of cheap indie games that you can find on Steam, but that's my hot take. Did you know that the chemical material worth of a human is about $160? So there's that. Oh, well then. That was a fun fact that I hadn't heard before. So that's certainly something, isn't it? That's most certainly something. Well, we could always switch over to something. We could always switch over to like some Fire Emblem Fates. Or we could do some Utopia. I mean, at the same time, when is the freaking Dark Deity thing going on? Because we'll be tuning into that. That's apparently going to be at 4:20 my time that's going on. So like there's still, you know, a bit of time before that. I'm honestly still kind of tired. I wound up staying up a bit too late with Fire Emblem Fates last night. I wound up staying up until like 3 or 4 a.m. So, whoops. So, I'm kind of running on a few hours of sleep here to like get up at a decent time for this direct and whatnot. So, honestly, I'm kind of thinking about maybe just ending the stream for now. Publishing it and maybe going to power nap for a few hours. What time is it currently for me? That would be 12:18 is the thing. I mean, we've been streaming for 2.5 hours now, basically. But yeah, so maybe I'll wind up power napping because 4 a.m. isn't that your normal time to end streams? Yeah, but I'm hoping to change that in the near future. I hope so. I have a bad habit of letting streams go on a little bit too long, but yeah, because I do plan on hopping into like some Dark Deity stuff later today when that has its whole shebang going on and whatnot. So maybe I'll wind up doing like some power napping before then, and I can publish this as like another podcast in the meantime is what we can do. Like that sounds like a pretty alrighty idea, right? But yeah, near future, yeah. I mean, tomorrow is my last day of this kind of mini uni semester, so I do hope to like strike a balance with like work, channel work, and real life kind of stuff, and maybe get a schedule going again. We'll see. So we'll see how that goes. We shall most certainly see. We're gonna be back in a few hours for at least Dark Deity stuff going on. So that'll be about exactly 4 hours from now. Interesting. So yeah, thanks to all who stopped by and hung out for this. I think we're gonna wrap up the stream here. We'll be back in about 4 hours-ish, I guess. Hope y'all enjoyed the direct. I know that there was like mixed feelings about that. Anybody that could be watching this on YouTube after the fact can let me know in the comments what they thought of the direct. And yeah, I'm gonna power nap here in a little bit. So thanks to all who stopped by and hung out. And yeah, I'm gonna catch up on some Z's, I guess.